Super Chevy dealers and Home Bank. Good for business, good for life. This is LSU football.
Working from the near side hash. Shotgun snap. Daniels looking left. Fires it. Jenkins has it at the 5. Hit initially at the 3, but he wants the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers. Motion Booty left to right. Daniels looks that way. Now up the middle. He'll run. Bounces off a defender into the end zone. Touchdown, Fighting Tigers.
LSU football on Eagle 98.1, the flagship home of the Tigers. Tonight from Tiger Stadium, it's the LSU Tigers and the New Mexico Lobos. Now, here's Charles Sandegriff and Matt Musso.
From Burbank and Lee, welcome to Eagle 98.1 Game Day. And a pleasant good afternoon to everybody. I'm Charles Handicapping along with Matt Musso and our entire ESPN Baton Rouge staff as we bring you tonight's ball game between the New Mexico Lobos and the LSU Tigers. LSU comes in with a record of 2-1, a 31-16 winner over Mississippi State in the SEC opener for both teams last week in Tiger Stadium. LSU's fourth quarters against both Mississippi State and Florida State have ignited the Tigers and have been the most positive parts of their season to date. The Florida State game came up just short. The Mississippi State game gave a chance for LSU to flex their muscles against a conference opponent in a tight game in the fourth quarter. For LSU, this game is their final non-conference game before a stretch of conference tilts that will go all the way towards Thanksgiving. It's not a circled game. It's not a sandwich game. It's just the next game. Call it a means to an end, something that LSU must endure. But it doesn't mean that there's some things that can't be picked up in tonight's game that sees LSU as better than a 30-point favorite. Obviously, you want to get through the game without any injuries. But more importantly, LSU needs to build on the offensive success that they had a week ago, specifically in the run game, aside from the quarterback, Jaden Daniels. LSU will be without Kayshon Boutte tonight, Matt, but they should hardly need him. They're a big favorite tonight, and this is about keeping that momentum going that started in the fourth quarter last week.
Absolutely, and maybe get off to get Jaden Daniels into a rhythm a bit earlier. You've seen him really find that rhythm late in the games. You mentioned Florida State, obviously last week. What can you do if you're Mike Denbrock, if you're Brian Kelly, to get him in that rhythm early and start fast? That's been something you've heard from Brian Kelly a lot when it comes to offense. You've seen it once. That was against Southern, who, quite frankly, they're not very good. They're not on LSU's level. New Mexico isn't either. So what can you do to get him to start fast and hopefully carry that forward into the rest of SEC play?
New Mexico also comes in with a record of 2-1, a 27-10 winner against UTEP last week, a win that frankly looks a little bit better now that UTEP beat Boise State last night in what was a pretty big upset as a 17-point underdog. New Mexico's athletic director Eddie Nunez spent 14 seasons in the administration at LSU, and this game was largely put together by him and Verge Ausberry. It'll be New Mexico's first trip into Tiger Stadium and their last game before they head into Mountain West play. Much like LSU, this is not a circled game for New Mexico. This is not a sandwich game. It's just the next game and a financial means to an end for the Lobos program. As Eddie Nunez told us yesterday, games like this are extremely important for all the sports in the New Mexico athletic department. Frankly, LSU should win this game easily, but you have to actually do it. Go on, look across the landscape of college football today. 2 top 5 teams are in one-score games heading in deep into the third quarter. One of them ahead, one of them behind. Georgia even, not having the easiest of times with Kent State today. So nothing is a given in college football, and that's why we love the game. Got a big show planned for you this afternoon. Everybody on our ESPN Baton Rouge staff will be with us. Sam Hauser, covering the New Mexico Lobos, will be with us. Jim Nagy on with the scouting report of the Lobos, and we'll keep you up to date on all of the games. Clemson is in a little bit of trouble. Michigan also struggling at home with Maryland. We'll get you up to date on all of the scores and walk you up to kickoff of tonight's game. From Rouse's, Burbank and Lee, this is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Otter Locks. Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs. Now, here's Jimmy Ott.
And we are at Rouse's Burbank at Lee. Download the app. Get all of your tailgating supplies on your way into campus just down the road from Tiger Stadium here at Rouse's. Even get a draft beer while you shop over here in the deli section where we are set up. Clemson, a touchdown and a two-point conversion to tie Wake Forest. This game is deep into the third quarter. It is 28 apiece. Let's bring in my broadcast partner, Jimmy Ott. Otter, we're seeing two top 5 teams that are getting all they want today. Michigan and Maryland, that is a 4-point Michigan lead right now at the end of 3. And Clemson, like I said, just tied the game here against Wake Forest. We came into this game thinking that Clemson would have a big edge on the line of scrimmage, the defensive line of scrimmage especially. They have. Wake Forest hasn't been able to run the football at all. But Sam Hartman's having himself a day. He's thrown 4 touchdown passes.
All right, let's start with Michigan-Maryland, Charlie, the opening kickoff. Maryland basically spots Michigan 7 points. They fumble it at the 10-yard line, one play, touchdown. 10 seconds in, it's 7-0. And Maryland controlled most of the first half and went to the locker room, was going to the locker room with the lead until Michigan busted a 40-yarder with less than a minute to go to take a 17-13 halftime lead. We know about Maryland's, Lil Tua and the 3 receivers are top-notch, but they're getting a little bit more push up front and running the ball. They're very balanced. But he got knocked out the game, and he still has not returned to this point. So, and the replacement is a big drop-off for Maryland. It's going to be tough for Maryland if Lil Tua does not come back in the game. So that's the big thing. The Wake Forest game is real simple. The Clemson has a freshman cornerback, and Sam Hartman is taking a little bit of a page out of Joe Burrow's book. Joe Burrow, when he said, I would see when they were their coverage, but they don't look back. He said, when I see the back of their helmet, I'm considering my guy open. That's all he's doing. It's neutralizing the pass rush for Clemson, and it's just time after time after time. The DB is right there, but they're completing it or getting an interference call, and they're going up and down the field. on Clemson where they're really having some problems. So getting the ball out quickly, neutralizing that rush, and really taking advantage of them. It's why this guy has won so much at a low-resource, low-expectation program in Winston-Salem. It Clawson. It's really, really impressive. And it's kind of where, this defensive Venables, their replacement right now, is not having a good day for Clemson.
They gave the stat earlier. Clemson has on their roster 66 players that were in the ESPN Top 300. Wake Forest has zero. Not a single one, just to give you an idea of the talent disparity. Let me ask you about Georgia and Kent State. I have not been able to see very much of this one. Kent State caught our attention when they were scoreless with Oklahoma till about 2 minutes to go in the half. Oklahoma pulled away in the second half. We're just used to watching Georgia run over everybody, including a team like Oregon. They're getting a little – they're not going to lose this game, but they're getting a little bit more than we expected. Maybe Kent State's not bad.
Charlie, I don't even have that one on over here.
I'll see you there. I was hoping you'd bail me out. It's 32-22, and Kent State just punched another one in.
Who does Georgia have on their schedule next week? It's got to be that team.
They came Missouri.
Yeah, not the biggest look-ahead spot, but it's hard for me to. What's the spread on that game? 40.
Probably something.
It was in that range.
Yeah. It just like I said, they're not going to win. I'm just going to chalk this up to the Georgia can't be at their peak every single week, and if you're going to have a letdown week, have it here because you're not going to lose. Still, it's 10-point game. Michigan has just scored as well to extend their lead against Maryland. Auburn, LSU's next opponent. They're in a tie game, 14 apiece, about 4 minutes gone in the fourth quarter. Fairly even game, though. One of Auburn's touchdowns did come on a short field after an interception. No TJ Finley today. Auburn just looks extremely lethargic. I'm trying to come up with a more creative word, but that's the only one I got, Jimmy. They just look like they would rather be somewhere else. They are not nearly the physical team that we always expect from Auburn. We got a text from our buddy Tex Morris, who's at the game, and frankly described it as like, this isn't the liveliest place. So if Missouri wins, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Brian Harsin is fired tonight or tomorrow morning. But go to fourth quarter, tie ball game there.
Yeah, and those could be the two seventh place finishers in their division this year. It's Hartman. Guess what happens, Charlie? Hartman, the receiver, is covered. DB doesn't look back. He just drops it right in there, and a touchdown for Donovan Green, 25 yards, and Wake Forest is back on top. It's like over and over. They won't go to zone. They're playing man on the outside. He's just doing it over and over. This has been for 3 quarters now. They won't adjust. The Clemson defense coordinator is having a rough day. Back to Auburn. I didn't know what to expect. Again, both of these coaches, they're 1-2 in the SEC as far as on the hottest seat. And 14-0. I'm like, well, man, Auburn may have shown up a little bit today. And next thing you know, Missouri pops back on them and is tied now. So I don't know what's going on in Auburn right now. Because Missouri is not a good team, and they got a chance to beat them at their place.
Another game that we talked about a little bit this week, we started to pay attention to Kansas. Kansas and Duke, 2 3-0 teams, and we really like the quarterback Jalen Daniels for Kansas. He is having himself a heck of a day. He's got 288 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. He's 17 out of 20. But like we've been talking about, Jimmy, he's a true dual threat. He's got 58 yards on the ground, some key runs. Duke has just punched it in to make it 28-20. Frankly, Kansas has blown some chances. They had a 4th and goal that stopped inside the 1. They fumbled on the 20-yard line going in, or this spread could be a lot more than it is. But Daniels, he is a really, really exciting player.
He's really good. Give Les Miles credit. That's his recruit. It's his 3rd year at Kansas. And, so when I'm going to watch basically the Final Four of football coverage, I got to watch it with my favorite coach. Coach Gary Dewey's with me over here in Natchez right now, celebrating his anniversary, Charlie. So we watching. How about Daniels? His quarterback rating at one point in the third quarter was 328.
That's really good.
17 yards an attempt, 4 TDs to 0 interceptions. He can run the ball. He's not an athletic quarterback who can that can't pass, that they label dual threat. He is a good, accurate thrower with touch that can run. You can run read option out of as well. Charlie, I'll say it again. Tell me, Caleb Williams from USC, C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, both were like 10-0 and 8-0 touchdown interception. This kid's as good as anybody. He's playing as good as anybody, I should say, in the country this year. I mean, he is phenomenal. And look, they've only stopped themselves 2 red zone turnovers, a couple of fumbles, or they would have more. I don't think they've punted yet this game sorry about Kansas.
They had a quick kick. They did a quick kick. They let Daniels punt it down inside the 5-yard line.
Okay.
So that's it.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean, I've been watching it close. I even tweeted out, man, he looks great, man. He's really, really good.
Otter 2:30 window is what's on deck here. Florida, Tennessee, obviously the big one in the SEC, really kind of the marquee matchup of the 2:30 window as a whole. First time ever, Tennessee a double-digit favorite in this series against the Gators. What you see on Rocky Top today?
Yeah, I mean, it sent us all kind of scampering and leaning on our historical resources like Bruce Marshall of the Gold Sheet, and they said, no, they've never been a double-digit favorite. And, I'm not crazy about Cedric Tillman, who's arguably the best receiver in the SEC, him being out for this game. But I just think that Tennessee has got much more accomplished passing attacks. The deal is out on the quarterback for Florida. He's one-dimensional. And, they're going to play man on the outside and make him beat him with his arm. Don't let him run the ball on you. And I just think with all of the dominance by Florida over the years, Tennessee's hungry. That place will be packed, and they will beat Florida as bad as they possibly can. As long as they play within themselves, I think Tennessee's going to win and win big today against Florida and take a lot of years of frustration out in front of a hostile environment. Richardson first start on the road for the Florida quarterback in front of a hostile environment. That's an old handicapping philosophy at the college level that's really, really been profitable most of the time. It applies today in this 2:30 kick.
6 o'clock kickoff tonight in Arlington for Arkansas and Texas A&M. This game's usually very entertaining. A&M bounced back with that win against Miami last week. Arkansas is off to a 3-0 start. The Aggies are a small favorite in this game tonight at Jerry World.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I'm not glad that I lost Miami with the points last week, but I am glad because I get some more value this week. Miami had 11 more first downs than A&M. A&M, they had Miami had over 100 more total yards, but some botched field goals and stalled drives in A&M territory, cost them that game. And Van Dyke did not have his best game as well. Double pick for you here on this one. I like the under 49. So does Paul Stone, who's one of the more respected college football handicappers. 49 is a big number. One thing you gotta check before you bet an over/under in college football is pace of play. Texas A&M is the slowest pace of play in all of college football, 131st in snaps per game. So they only had 51 last week in the Miami game. So, but Arkansas is better coached here. Love that coordinator duo. And Charlie, you said it, that they've had so many entertaining games. Last year's was not. Last year was a comfortable victory for Arkansas in this one, and I think it will be in this one as well. So I'm looking for a low-scoring game, but I'm looking for Arkansas. Arkansas is a better team. They're much better, more balanced than them. They're a better offensive team, and I just think they're much, much stronger on the bench also. I like Arkansas and the under.
Last year was also the first time since A&M came into the SEC that the Hogs won in this series. I like Arkansas as well. One thing, if Arkansas's pass defense, if A&M can't throw the ball on this team, it's the only real hole in Arkansas's team is in the secondary. If they can't throw it on this team, they won't see a weaker secondary in the league this year. If they can't throw it tonight, it's not going to get any easier with the rest of the SEC. All right, Jimmy, who's bringing us Otter Locks today?
1 second as we do that, Charlie. A 4th and 1 for Maryland to try and keep it going at midfield. They do convert to 24-13 with 11 minutes to go in that one. Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we're in the business of matching hard workers with some of the most sought-after employers in the Baton Rouge area. To Lofton, you are more than just another employee. We care about your interests, and we can help match you with a company that needs your skills. You can complete an application, schedule an interview, and even browse jobs right from the comfort of your couch by simply going to lofton.jobs. That's lofton.jobs. We also offer an unlimited $100 referral bonus. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today, 924-0200, or go to lofton.jobs.
All right, Tagovailoa is back in the game. He is gutting it out. He's got a noticeable limp, but he's just completed a ball inside the 10-yard line. Maryland will play first and goal at the 6, trailing 24-13 with 10 minutes to go in regulation. Jimmy, appreciate it. Football Sunday tomorrow at 10 o'clock on ESPN Baton Rouge. You and Roe, Mike Delicano, and a lot of picks. You guys have been red hot in the NFL tomorrow morning at 10.
Historic day last week, Charlie. 7 different handicappers, including myself. 14-0 last Sunday. We can't do that, but we'll try and do our best.
All right. Have a great show. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
When we come back here at Rouse's, where, again, download the app and have curbside pickup for all of your tailgating supplies. And remember, here at Rouse's, we never run out of ice. Gordy Rush is next. We'll talk about LSU and New Mexico. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Skull Session. Offense. Presented by Gulf Coast Bank. Gulf Coast Bank. The bank that cares about you. Now, here's Charles Hannegriff. And from the LSU Sports Radio Network, Gordy Rush. Gordy Rush.
Our Bears count down to kickoff. We're about 4 hours and 35 minutes away from the start of LSU and New Mexico. Bring in Gordy Rush. Gordy, good afternoon. How are you?
How you doing? Great, Charlie.
Let's talk about what LSU was able to get going offensively in the fourth quarter last week. We saw them able to run the football without necessarily running it with the quarterback. We saw them really take over at the line of scrimmage, look like the much better conditioned football team a week ago.
Absolutely. And I think a surprise all around. We knew that LSU had gone through a new conditioning program, but they hadn't been in a position to show it, and certainly was not. They were not the more dominant team against Florida State, and they were playing catch up. But now that we do see that the conditioning is at a high level, and I think that to me, Brian Kelly and Denbrocker are starting to put the pieces together and figure out who's who. The changes they've made on the offensive line, the adjustments they made in the second half, particularly being able to get the ball out on the edge in the passing game, a little bit in the run game, spread the Mississippi State defense sideline to sideline and opened up some opportunities in the run game in the fourth quarter, and they wore Mississippi State down.
You know, I don't usually say that one offensive lineman will make all the difference in the world, but with Emory Jones in there, Gordy, it sure looked different.
No, he did, and you know, there was some things that happened in that Southern game, and that's why you play those games, that you look past the competition, just his athleticism. And there was one pancake situation where he drove a defender for Southern 3 or 4 plays down that caught everybody's eye. I mean, ESPN went back and spotlighted Cole Kublik, saw it down on the sideline. And so there's no question that, you know, he's exceptional. I mean, he has got a tremendous upside. He's going to make some mistakes. We saw some of that and missing some twists. But at this point, it's the best route for LSU to go with these bookend true freshman tackles and grow with them.
It was the first opportunity for us to see John Emery. He had 11 carries in the game. What did you think?
Rusty, as you expected. I mean, you see the burst that you expect, and you also see, I think, that he hasn't had as many reps as the other guys. He's been held out of practice, and there are a couple. I think there's some limited packages. A couple times Daniels had to get him lit up, and I think there were some times when he was running the football that he could have bounced it instead of pushing some things inside. And, you know, things you expect in a first game and a guy that has partially gone through your fall camp.
Gordy, it's their last non-conference game for a while, right? You have the one with UAB in the second to last week in November. But one thing we've heard Brian Kelly talk so much about is wanting to start faster on offense. You've seen them do great in the fourth quarter, as we mentioned earlier. How do you think they get Jaden Daniels into a rhythm earlier in the game that kind of mimics what we've seen in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that was one of the problems to me, and I said this on the broadcast. You know, I think Jaden Daniels was pushing things in the first quarter, specifically in the second half. In general, that he was not comfortable. He was a little antsy. He was rushing throws. And from being around that program enough, I think that they feel like he is at his best in the comfort zone when the ball is snapped between 18 and 20 seconds. So it's not going turbo, but it's going with some sort of tempo to get him in a rhythm. And I think the combination that he had butterflies going in that football game early, and that State kept bringing pressure packages, and there were times that maybe he prematurely was flushed out of the pocket and recognized the pressure was coming and flushed it instead of staying with the play. It just took him a while to settle down, and he did that in that last series of the second half, and of course looked fantastic. The last series of the second quarter, and then settled down in the second half and played an excellent second half of football.
Brian Kelly said earlier this week that he wants to get Jack Bech more involved. Keishon Boutte will not be at this game, so that's the offensive part of it. But he also said he wants to get more out of the special teams in the punt return game, and Bech returned punts in high school. I'm just wondering, Gordy, if there's, you maybe kill two birds with one stone. I'm a problem solver here. You might see Jack Bech back on punts tonight.
I wouldn't surprise me, and we see Coach Kelly make changes when he's needed to on special teams. There's two new wings, what we call wing backs on the kick PAT. Mashburn's out there and Allie Gay, and that was a change from Florida State. So he's not afraid to make changes back there. Look, you got too many guys that are 4- and 5-star kids, or name it, that have been punt returners in high school, and I'm surprised that we haven't seen some more folks back there. The competition in fall camp was Nicholas from St. Aug. It was Banks, who's just getting back to health, the corner from Ohio State. It was Neighbors, and it was also Sage Ryan. You know, I talked to Frank Monica, who was the coach down St. Charles Catholic that played Lafayette Christian, and he said Sage Ryan was incredible as a punt returner. So whether it's Bech, whether it's Ryan, I think that's something that's my last non-conference game. I can't go through the SEC with nervous moments, and I think people tentative back there and just fair catching punt returns. I need to be able to advance 8 or 10 yards because your percentages greatly go up if you can limit the field that you've got to travel. So I'm interested to see what changes are made in the special team. As for Bech as a receiver, to me the question is an 11 personnel, and they want to play 11 personnel. Heck, they want to play 12 if they have the tight ends. The problem comes in, where do you play Bech? He's not a tight end H-back, and Neighbors is that dangerous in the slot. And I don't think Bech is an edge guy. We'll see how they use him tonight, meaning out there with Boutte or Thomas or Hilton. Those guys are typically more speed guys, and I think Bech is really effective as a slot, but he's a different type of slot. He's a more physical, bigger target than what Neighbors is. But in your passing situations, are you willing to pull 8 off the field to put 80 in at that slot? So I'm interested to see where they use him tonight.
Michigan kicks a field goal to go up 8 with 6.5 minutes to go in the game over Maryland. Clemson has just scored a touchdown. They reviewed it. It will hold up. If they make the extra point, they will be tied at 35 with Wake Forest with 11:16 to go in regulation. We'll talk about the LSU defense when we come back here at Rouse's. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Spencer Callahan is the one to see. Call 387-2323.
LA 21-126-81 offices in Baton Rouge. WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana Products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana Barbecue Sauce, Louisiana Molasses Mustard, Spicy and Sweet Barbecue Rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day, Skull Session, Defense. Presented by Edward Jones, making sense of investments. Now here's Charles Hannegriff. And from the LSU Sports Radio Network, Gordy Rush. Gordy Rush.
And we return here at Rouse's. Download the app and curbside pickup on your way into campus for all your tailgate needs. And remember, at Rouse's, we never, ever run out of ice. Gordy, last week, a move that actually was made against Southern but didn't get a whole lot of attention because of the blowout was the swap in the secondary with Jay Ward and Greg Brooks. It played big dividends in this game. Both players seemed a lot more comfortable, and Jay Ward parlayed that into SEC Defensive Player of the Week honors. Tell us what you saw back there and why this move worked.
Well, there were a lot of communication. There were a lot of communication issues in the Florida State game, and Coach Kelly talked about that. Safeties, I think, identifying motion, relaying, that means relaying who's got contained, who's got secondary containers. Remember, there were some big plays where they're just LSU defenders not there. And so what Brooks brings is a guy that played back on a hash for Barry Odom at Arkansas, that played something a little bit more similar to what LSU is doing now under Matt House and what they did, a year ago under Durante Jones. And then with Jay Ward, you take him off the hash, and he's more instinctive. He's more of a downhill player. I think it was a win-win. And so you saw Ward, who was so effective in all of the short game and the screens and things like that, wins SEC Defensive Player of the Week. And then Brooks is getting them lined up, making sure they're in the right call. And other than on the touchdown run from Mississippi State, where the secondary support never got there. There was a missed tackle, but there should have been a secondary support, which that's a missed assignment. It was a clean game defensively. So but with Brooks, you would get your quarterback of the defense back there with Burns to get you lined up, and then Ward, maybe a Jamal Adams, somebody that brings a little athleticism and physical presence to the outside line of scrimmage there as a nickelback.
We saw Harold Perkins again in multiple places. Gordy, that inside stunt they ran where he evades the back that's assigned to step up into the hole and block him. He gets through that, makes the sack. That was a really, really nice play, a very athletic play. So more the same with him. He's sort of somebody you can put all over the place.
Well, and Ojulari had a couple snaps in the inside middle linebacker position. I mean, and that is atypical of an NFL defense, and that's what we discussed, you and I, in your handicast, about what House brings to the table. It's a 4-3 in writing, but with Ojulari as a jack linebacker, meaning he's on the line of scrimmage, he plays off the line of scrimmage. Then all of a sudden, what happens when he shows up in the middle of the formation and they get to a race car package, and how do you account for him when an offensive lineman naturally you're preparing Monday through Thursday, where's 8? I'm gonna apply protection to him. I'll be 1+ with the running back, and then he shows up in middle linebacker. Perkins, for all that Mississippi State knew, he came in and played edge because Ojulari and Gay were out in the Southern game, and then he shows up as an inside linebacker, and he's electric and is a pass rushing threat from the middle of the field. So it becomes about matchups. And so now you have a lot of different personnel that can do a lot of different things, and it makes it hard as an offensive coordinator where to slide your protection. And that's, again, atypical of the NFL defense. What impresses me is the amount of progress that House has made from the Florida State game to the Mississippi State game. You know, Southern, LSU's going to dominate Southern, whatever 11 they put on the field, right? In some of it, you want to get some things run and get some people some experience. I just think in 2 weeks, how clean they played against a team that makes it very difficult for you to be mistake-free was really impressive.
Probably shouldn't gloss over Ojulari's performance last week. Gordy, I thought that if you're an NFL scout and you put the tape on and you watch that game, you go, hey, here's this guy that can be an elite pass rusher, and you get a variety of opinions on where he's going to go in the draft. I thought he did himself a lot of good last week. In my opinion, it was his best game as an LSU Tiger.
No, I agree with you. I mean, you saw it all. Even at times, you know, as an NFL scout, you look, can he play in space? And there are a couple of times that he dropped in coverage, didn't do anything miraculous, but shows something that he hadn't shown before. So we talked about in 2019, he was an edge rusher in their race car third down package. And the more things that he can show, the more valuable he is. I'm with you 100%. And he continues on this pace. He's a first, second round guy.
All right, so we talked about the special teams as far as the punt returner. Let's talk about the coverage units. Brian Kelly said they've got to coach it better. Certainly didn't plan to have Emory Jones out on an island by himself in contain, but it worked out. The big guy made a play, but that wasn't how they drew it up. Well, how do you change special teams? I mean, they say they got to coach it better. What are you talking about? What can you do in a week on special teams?
Yeah, you know, I made some notes ever since you drilled me on the handicaps. You went hard in the paint on me, and so I made notes to prepare for this Saturday thing because I know Musso, he's big time now too. He probably had some bullets waiting for me.
Yeah.
So here's what I would do. I'm just not a fan of linemen on the shield and the punt protection. I understand you get their girth, but you get a lack of athletic ability and people the two outside people in the shield. Those are the three people that stand in front of the punter. They have to be your secondary contain. If somebody misses, they need to make a tackle in space. And Emory Jones is just gifted enough that he was able to make that play. But I would not want to bet on that 9 times out of 10. So do you get more athletic there, and do they make changes at that position? I think that's the first thing that I'm looking for. The second thing on kickoffs, if you cannot kick it in the end zone, sky kick. You sky kick to me instead of the squib. Too many things go wrong in the squib. You can, one, kick it too wide and kick the ball out of bounds and they're at the 35, or kick it to the guy, and then you get a return right at you. Today's kickoff in college football, I think most special team guys are happy to give the ball to the offense on the 25, and most offenses will take the ball on the 25. So why not kick a sky kick to the up back that's going to fair catch it 8 times out of 10 and just take the ball at the 25? I think that does it. And then whatever they come up with punt return. I don't think you can go through this SEC season where I think you have a tremendous amount of parity in the middle of the pack. Teams after Alabama and Georgia, and then you can get rid of the bottom teams, the other 8 or 10. Are in the same group, and so 1 or 2 plays, or what this game may come down to, and you need to be able to advance the ball and at least do something with punt returns. So I'm interested to see whatever happens today, what moves they make there. Because like you said, this is the last chance that you want to test things out. I want to go with who's going to be my punt returner when I go play Auburn. Even with the struggles they're having right now, it's still Auburn and it's SEC ball.
I got a friend of mine, every time they got a team kicks a ball in the end zone on a kickoff, he sends me a text message and says, they got a guy. Where's LSU? I don't know. It's not my job to go find a kicker that can put the ball in the end zone. So in the meantime, they sky kick. Gordy, have a good call. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Okay, guys, take care.
All right, Michigan breaks a run for a touchdown to make it 34-19 with 3:31 to go. Clemson behind a field goal now, 38-35. They have the ball in Wake Forest territory, or did. This sack is going to put them back, I think, directly on the midfield stripe. 5:48 to go there, and Wake Forest Wake Forest up by 3 points, 38-35. Full scoreboard is next from Rouse's. Download the app and get all of your curbside delivery here for all your tailgating supplies. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf
98.1. The First South Farm Credit College Football Scoreboard. First South Farm Credit. Financing farms and land since 1916.
We started the Big House, where Michigan has struggled today, but it looks like they're going to hang on. 34-19, 2:21 to go. Maryland has the football. Talia Tagovailoa missed a good chunk of the middle of this game with an injury, came back, gutted it out, threw a touchdown pass that got Maryland within 5. They missed a 2-point conversion, but Michigan just broke off a run. 2:21 to go in that one. Looks like Michigan will survive. Would have served them right if they'd have lost, though, that cupcake schedule they put together the first 3 weeks of the season. Clemson has just hit a field goal to tie the game at 38 with Wake Forest. 4:01 to go in that one. Clemson about to kick the ball back to Wake Forest. Number 14, Penn State leads Central Michigan 33-14. Musa, what's going on in the loveliest little village on the plain?
Well, you got first and goal for the Missouri Tigers with 50 seconds left. They got down there off of a pass interference call, Henny.
14-14. If Missouri punches it in and wins this game, the question we'll ask all afternoon is, will Brian Harsin coach for Auburn against LSU? Let's actually give you a little in-game here. This is from the 3-yard line. Missouri going to – they could kill a clock to
field goal.
Auburn doesn't have any timeouts left. Auburn's got 1 timeout left. So Missouri can go all the way down. Auburn cannot stop the clock more than once. That was a first down and goal. So they can kneel this out all the way down to about 3 seconds, kick the field goal, which would be an extra point. And if they do that, they will beat Auburn. We'll keep you up to date here at the end of the scoreboard what happens. TCU leading SMU 35-27 with 5 minutes to go there. Buffalo leading Eastern Michigan 50-31. UCLA leading Colorado 21-3. That game is in the second quarter. Also, the second quarter scores. Temple leads UMass 7-0. Ohio leads Fordham 24-14. 2:30 starts between number 20 Florida and number 11 Tennessee. Big pregame story here. No Cedric Tillman. Ankle injury will keep the star wide receiver for Tennessee out of this big conference matchup. Number 22 Texas on the road at Texas Tech. 2:30 kickoff in Lubbock. You know, we put on to something yesterday, Matt, when we were talking with Bruce Marshall about this game and the Oregon State USC game. USC's in Corvallis tonight, and Texas is in Lubbock. With the conference realignment, this is probably the last trip that either of those massive programs are going to make to these college towns. So USC, there's a good chance they'll never go to Corvallis again. Texas will never go back to Lubbock. So some hostile, and believe me, those fans know that. So hostile home fields tonight, even more so than normal, I would think.
USC might be happy they don't have to go back to Corvallis. Some weird stuff has happened there to them, man. Weird stuff.
The game in the fog. I'll never forget that one. A Thursday or Friday night. Middle Tennessee is at number 25. Miami. Notre Dame trying to square their record at 2-2. They are at North Carolina, who is 3-0. Maybe a little bit of a fortuitous 3-0 for the Tar Heels. That's a 2:30 kick. Minnesota is at Michigan State. The Gophers are a favorite on the road by a field goal. Indiana's at Cincinnati. James Madison at Appalachian State. Has anybody had a more entertaining season than Appalachian State so far?
No, I'm going to say no.
Between the game with North Carolina that was 63-61, the upset at Texas Stadium, the Hail Mary last week.
That was insane.
App State, do they have anything left? James Madison, first year in the FBS, is averaging 53 points a game through 2 weeks. Just tuck that away somewhere. Toledo is at San Diego State. Florida International at Western Kentucky. North Texas at Memphis. Texas Southern at UTSA. 3 o'clock kickoff for number 15 Oregon at Wazoo. Also a 3 o'clock kick for Tulsa and number 16 Ole Miss. Georgia Tech and UCF, Sacramento State, Colorado State. 4:30 kickoff for Arizona. They are at Cal. 5 o'clock kick for Akron and Liberty. Navy and East Carolina. 6 o'clock kickoff for, 5 o'clock kickoff for Ball State and Georgia Southern. Arkansas State and Old Dominion. Did Missouri make the field goal?
We got the field goal attempt right now on third down. 3 seconds.
3 seconds to go. This will be to win it. Missouri's extra point is up, and it is.
He missed it.
He missed it. Wow. This is 23 yards? About. They kneeled it back to. Wow. Okay. Auburn lives for now. They're going to overtime.
So does Brian Harsin.
Yeah, for the moment. Where was I?
6
o'clock kickoff for Northern Illinois. Rice and Houston at 5 o'clock. Northern Illinois at number 8 Kentucky. 6 o'clock kickoff at Arlington. Number 10 Arkansas. Number 23 Texas A&M. Also 6 o'clock kick for Iowa and Rutgers. The total in this game is 34. That is the lowest college football total I have ever seen.
They've been pumping the punters pregame this week in that game.
What an absolutely wonderfully exciting game that plans to be. Southern Miss is at 3-0 Tulane. Last week, Willie Fritz, the coach at Tulane, who's had an enormous amount of success at multiple stops, got his first ever win over a Power 5 team when they beat Kansas State up in Manhattan. UNLV is at Utah State. Marshall is at Troy. Troy, the heartbreaker last week, had Appalachian State beat. La Tech is at South Alabama. 6:30 kick, Vanderbilt at number 2 Alabama. Wisconsin at number 3 Ohio State. Wisconsin hasn't beaten Ohio State in 17 years.
Goodness.
UConn is at number 12 NC State. Miami of Ohio is at Northwestern. Charlotte is at South Carolina. Florida Atlantic at Purdue. 7 o'clock kickoff for Kansas State and number 6 Oklahoma. Also 7 o'clock, friends and family only for Hawaii and New Mexico State. 7 o'clock kick, Boston College is at Florida State. UL Lafayette is at UL Monroe. A game we talked about a second ago at 8:30 kickoff in Corvallis. Number 7 USC and 3-0 Oregon State. 9:15, the late kicks include Wyoming at number 19, BYU, number 13, Utah at Arizona State. First game for Arizona State since Herm Edwards was fired last weekend. 9:30 kick also for Stanford at number 18, Washington. Michael Penix and company looked really, really good last week against Michigan State. Western Michigan is at San Jose State to round out the schedule, and that is your college football scoreboard. I can't believe that guy missed that kick.
It wasn't particularly close either, honestly.
And that's the right play. I mean, you've got – they were at the 3-yard line, first and goal. There's about, what, at that point, 45 seconds to go?
45 seconds.
Okay, so if you run a play and you make it, you give Auburn a chance to get the ball back. It maybe go down the field. But more than that, you could fumble. You could throw an interception. All these things can happen. So you play the percentages. You go down on a knee. Auburn doesn't. If Auburn had timeouts left, that would have been different. They'd had 3 timeouts left. That's different. So you've only got 1 timeout left. You can kill the clock. You can put what is, I would say, a 97% chance of converting that, a 23-yard field goal.
It's an extra point.
Yeah, essentially it's an extra point. And he missed it. Missouri did everything right. They just didn't make the kick. Now they're going to go to overtime, and I didn't see who won the coin toss.
I didn't either.
But put it this way: by the time we get back from our scouting report, we should have a result in the game between Auburn and Missouri going overtime.
Well, I want to remind you all about Running Board's marketing. They can help your business stand out. Giant LED mobile billboard trucks where they drive eye-catching ads that are impossible to miss. Advertise with them. Check them out at runningboardsmarketing.com.
And we will take a break. I do think Kansas and Duke went
that went final 35-27.
35-27. I should give you there were a few games that went final while we were in that. Penn State beat Central Michigan 33-14. Georgia beat Kent State 39-22. Baylor beat Iowa State 31-24. Kansas beat Duke 35-27. Louisville beat South Florida 41-3. Pittsburgh beat Rhode Island 45-24, and Mississippi State beat Bowling Green 45-14. From Rouse's, this is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
98.1.
And welcome back into Eagle 98.1 Game Day live here at Rouse's on Burbank and Lee. Getting closer and closer to kickoff LSU and New Mexico State. Right now we welcome in the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy. Jim, great to have you another week. How are you?
I'm doing great this week. How are you?
We're doing fantastic. Always better coming off of an SEC win around these parts for sure. Now they'll step back out of conference. So at 31-point spread, maybe not too much to look at with New Mexico, but plenty to look at with LSU. And looking back a few weeks when you were with us, we talked a lot about LSU guys maybe driving their stock up or who you were looking at early for the Senior Bowl. One of those guys was Jay Ward. And, well, Jay Ward stole the show on Saturday night versus Mississippi State. I mean, that might go down as the Jay Ward game in the lures of LSU. A leading tackler, an interception. Just what you saw from number 5 in purple and gold.
Yeah, he was, he played a great game. He was our Senior Bowl stock-up player of the week. Kind of profiled him on our social media. He played a great game, and I think the LSU defensive staff really played to his strengths. He played mostly the nickel spot in there. You know, they played him from the deep alignment a little bit, but he was mostly underneath, and he's perfectly suited for that. I think that's what Jay projects to when he goes to the NFL. I think he'll be a nickelback. You know what you like about him? He's a lot longer arms and a lot of nickels, and he really used that length last week against Mississippi State on those wide receivers, whether it's bubble action out in the pass game or wide runs. He did a great job getting off blocks. Jay is really a naturally violent football player. The biggest difference we're seeing this year compared to last year is he isn't put on a ton of weight. He's only about 185 pounds, but where he was falling off contact some and sliding off some stuff last year, he's just playing more physical and holding up better. So whether it was, he did make a couple really nice tackles in space from depth, but really it was the stuff underneath where he did a great job. And then we saw him, really kind of cap it off with that game icing interception. So whether it was against the run, coming downhill, being physical with blockers, or being in the right spot in coverage and making plays, Jay Ward played himself a heck of a game.
You mentioned there that you think he projects more as a nickel at the next level, and that's been a conversation this week. Brian Kelly's been asked a lot about that decision of moving him from safety to nickel after the Florida State game. But, I mean, you look at Jay, he came in and played corner as a freshman, was moved to safety, now down to nickel. The versatility's kind of off the charts for him so far in his time at LSU. What is it that projects him better at the nickelback spot at the next level?
Because he's a factor in run support. I think, just from my time in the NFL, you play with a nickel corner in there that's not really aggressive or physical against the run and doesn't have the want to Jay Ward has. They're going to check to run plays and run right at that guy. So, having Jay Ward at the nickel really prevents teams from doing that. They know that he is a feisty player, and he will come up and he will hit and strike blocks. And so really, they're dictating with Jay Ward in the nickel what the other team can do. So really smart move. Again, I think the versatility will help Jay at the next level. I think he could play some outside corner. He certainly could play free safety. But I do think that nickel spot inside is his best spot.
And also, you mentioned he was the stock-up player of the week, which I find fascinating because, I mean, the whole process that y'all go through, it feels like, honestly, it probably never really ends, but you're scouting so many different seniors around the country in college football. How do you ultimately whittle it down? What does that selection process look like to where you get the two teams in Mobile after the season to battle it out for scouts?
Yeah, it really is a year-round process for us. We started watching this 2023 draft class last February, so it's a constant search. Again, we've got 4 full-time football guys here in Mobile, but we've got 9 former NFL scouts all located all across the country. So on any given week, I think week 1 we were at 16 games, and that was because they were playing on, Thursday through Monday, really, that first weekend. And then last week we were at 11 games. This week we'll be at 10 games. And those guys are out on the road at games every Saturday, but they're also watching tape during the week. So that's the only way to do it. We've really tried to build this thing out like an NFL personnel department as best we can. And with 160-plus years of NFL experience all over the country, we feel good about it. We feel good about our process. And it'll lead us all the way till November and December. We'll start inviting here in about 6 or 7 weeks, that first part of November. And then we'll do another batch of invites in December.
Is there any input maybe from outside of maybe like NFL front offices, like, hey, is there a chance we could get this guy there, or is it all independently done by the Senior Bowl?
No, that's a great question. No, absolutely. There's collaboration with the NFL guys. What we wanted to do, when we built this thing this way 4 or 5 years ago and started getting the tape from the NFL, it was to eliminate some of the stuff you get from input from some outside sources, right? Like agents and whatnot. We really wanted to control our own process. But we definitely still include the NFL. So we will go through rounds of calls with those guys in November before we make those first selections. And really, these rosters are for them. So we're really just we're doing our own work, and then we're cross-checking ourselves with them and making sure we're bringing the guys they want to see.
It is a fascinating process, and you heard it there. Jay Ward moving that stock up. 11 tackles, pass deflection, fit interception, open field. All that stuff helps. For Jay Ward. Jim Nagy of the Reese's Senior Bowl with us every Saturday here on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Jim, we appreciate the time as always, and we will do it again next week when the Tigers head to the Plains.
All right, sounds good. Go Tigers.
Yes, sir. Go Tigers indeed. That is Jim Nagy, the executive director of the Reese's Senior Bowl. Y'all follow him on Twitter at JimNagy_SB. Follow the Senior Bowl as well. It's at Senior Bowl on Twitter. You heard him mention there, and they do a great job each week profiling different players from across the country on their social media. You see LSU guys like Jay Ward this past week. They do a great job covering and scouting the sport all year long. We are live from Rouse's on Burbank and Lee, continuing to count you down to LSU and New Mexico later tonight in Death Valley. We'll grab a break, come back with more. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Recruiting with Shay Dixon from On3 Sports. Presented by Shell. Shell is the rhythm of Louisiana.
All right, before we bring Shay in, and we are here at Rouse's Burbank at Lee, got to tell you that Auburn hangs on and wins the game 17-14 in overtime. They get a field goal on the opening drive of the overtime. Missouri, after missing what amounted to an extra point field goal attempt at the end of regulation, had a back that was going into the end zone. He was inside the 3-yard line, reaches out with the ball to try to get the pylon. And it looked to me from my vantage point, Matt, that he was going to score, that he did not. Furthermore, it was going to be a first down. Or he had gained enough for a first down on the carry. So even if he gets tackled there, even if he goes out of bounds there, they're playing first and goal at about the 3 or the 2. He reaches out, and as he does, the ball comes loose. It goes through the back of the end zone for a touchback. And that's what they ruled on the field. They looked at it. They upheld the call. It was the correct call. And Missouri, who should have won the game twice, loses to Auburn. And Brian Harsin, I guess, will survive for another week. Absolutely bizarre ending. Missouri will be kicking themselves for a long time with their opportunities. In the overtime in Winston-Salem, Wake Forest has scored on the opening possession, a touchdown, 45-38. Clemson with the ball trying to answer, no gain on first down. Keep you up to date on those games. Now let's bring in Shay Dixon from On3. Shay, you got all of that?
Oh, unfortunately, I had to watch that with my own eyes, Auburn and Missouri. That nobody wins here. Everybody's a loser. Everybody that watched it loses.
Okay, Musa and I were talking about this during the break. If you're LSU, do you want to see – and I don't know that they would have fired him had they lost, okay? I'm just saying that they've been trying to fire him since January, so I'm guessing. If you're LSU, do you want to see a Brian Harsin coach team next week or an interim coach?
100%. You want to see Brian Harsin.
Yeah.
That's some of the worst coach football I've watched. And then, yeah, if they would have lost that game, it would have absolutely been Monday or Sunday. Is he getting fired? Then you've got an interim. Then they all of a sudden have a reason to get up. Yeah, you don't want any part of that.
I don't think he would have made sundown if they lose that game. And an interim's always a mixed bag. Sometimes a team gets a jolt of excitement from that. They get some energy, and they play over their head for a week or two. Sometimes they come out and they're completely flat. We'll see, Arizona State tonight is in that position.
Sometimes it's Nebraska.
Yes, excellent example. Nebraska played with a lot of emotion for about 4 minutes, and then the whole thing went to pieces on them last week. So, yeah, I would think that LSU would be happy to see Brian Harsin next week. He may not make it 2 more weeks, but I guess he makes it 1 more week. That was a miraculous win. Missouri should have won that game twice. All right, let's talk about some record breakers, Shay, because a couple of LSU commitments have put themselves in some state record books.
Yeah, how about that? A big Friday night for a couple of guys. So we'll start off at the top. Trey Holly, who out of Union Parish, he's been committed to LSU for a bit now. He broke the state's, career rushing record and tops a familiar name in Nick Brissett. So you'll remember Kenny Hilliard was number 2. Nick Brissett was number 1. Now Trey Holly moves to number 1 on that list, passing up both those guys this year. So the top 3 will all be LSU running backs, a couple former ones and one coming in. But you like to see that if you're a Tigers fan. And let's see where he's at right now, Charlie. 8,708 career rushing yards. They still have 6 games to go, so he's going to put some distance on Brissett there. And that, Brissett, that was back in 2014, so that record will stand for a bit, I would guess, and needed 639 on the year, so it was already there. He had a really big game last night, went over 200 and something yards, right around 250 with 4 touchdowns. So big night for him. And then, back here in Baton Rouge, Shelton Sampson breaks Catholic High's career receiving record with 1,754 yards, and he had a really big game. They beat STM last night, but he had 10 catches, 132 yards. Really strong start to the year for him. I think a couple weeks ago, maybe it was like 9 for 159 and 2, and he's already had another 100-yard game on top of that. So he's looking like the kind of guy that's probably going to come in here and get a run at some really early playing time a year from now.
Shay, I'm old enough to remember when Jermaine Williams from Ascension Catholic was the state's all-time leading rusher, and the reason I know this is I played against him. So our team was responsible for somewhere in the area of 250 of Juice's yards on the way to the state rushing record that's since been broken multiple times. So I got a little bit of a connection to the record, right?
You've covered a lot of the other guys who
I did cover a lot of the
book, so.
I covered a lot of the other guys. Williams drug us for about 250 that night, as I remember. I had to be responsible for at least a little bit of that. We lost that playoff game down in Donaldsonville. All right, On Three's done the new rankings. Have reset the rankings. You guys do this. You can tell me exactly how often you do it, but it has resulted in a pair of 5 stars, new 5 stars for LSU.
Yeah, well, I'll touch on that. That's important. 5 stars. I did have this record book in front of me. Jermaine Williams still sits top 5, so there's something there, Charlie.
I'm still I'm responsible for a little bit of that. Okay, little bit of that.
That's right above Cecil Collins. So yeah, that's still sitting top 5. But LSU, well, yeah, there you go. Part of history. One of the guys that's on their 5-star, or at least that stayed a 5-star on 3 was Shelton Sampson. He's up to a top 20 overall player in the country, living up to that billing, obviously, on Friday nights with the stat lines I just mentioned, with another big one last night against STM. So he'll sort of be kind of front and center. I could never see him losing that 5th star, and I imagine he'll probably pick him up on some other sites as well. So Shelton Sampson, no doubt fitting the bill of the highest ranked receiver in the class, and that kind of guy you want to keep in state, given how often Louisiana turns out really high-level college and then ultimately NFL talent. And then the other is Daylon's Hurd up at Neville. Kept his 5-star, moved up again. I think he's top 15 in the country overall, but top 3 offensive tackle. They've got 2 top 10 offensive tackles with him and Tyree Adams out of St. Aug. We already see what their highly ranked true freshman offensive linemen are doing. The 2 highest ranked ones are starting at offensive tackle right now. So I feel like the offensive line's in some pretty good hands moving forward, guys. And I'll note, Jamar Kane has been on fire on the recruiting trail, and he got about 4 commits in the span of about a month and a half. 3 of those guys are now top 50 overall players on 3. So you've got a couple of top 5 edge rushers, the number 2 or 3 defensive linemen in the country. You're sitting kind of right where you want on both sides of the ball in terms of recruiting to the trenches, and I think that's one thing I really like about this class.
And I called games for Sheldon Sampson's father when he was at Redemptress as a running back. So this whole segment has done nothing but make me feel old, Shay. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for all this wonderful trip down memory lane here. Top 5 quarterbacks. There's a couple of them that are on campus today. DJ Lagway from Texas and Julian Sayin from California. Tell us about those guys, and please tell me that Julian Sayin's nickname is Just. Can we call him Just Sayin?
I'm sure there'll be a lot. His NIL opportunities are through the roof.
The segment's just off the rails, man. Just forget it.
Man.
Tell us about these 2 guys.
Look, Sayin is the number 2 quarter. We're talking about 2 guys for next year. So they've got Ricky Collins out of Woodlawn, committed for this year. He's a senior in high school. Next year's class is kind of where the focus is shifted for Joe Sloan. So Sayin is the number 2 quarterback in the country. He's out of California. He's making an unofficial visit over here and kind of talked about maybe in October going ahead and shutting things down and being committed to somewhere. We'll see if Georgia's kind of another school that's really in play here, so we'll see if he visits Athens. But, gosh, even Chad Simmons, our national analyst at On3, put in a prediction for LSU to land him. And I think that's kind of seeing that he's making a visit like this on his own dime from California after having to play last night and then inching closer and making a college announcement. So that would be a big one. And then they'll have another quarterback, top 5 quarterback on campus today in DJ Lagway, kid out of Texas who fans might be familiar with, like if you're a casual recruiting fan, just because he's kind of carried a lofty ranking the whole way. And he's certainly the best football, baseball prospect that's kind of out there early on for the junior crop. I mean, he's got offers for LSU baseball and both sports at A&M and Florida and kind of wherever you might name that are kind of big SEC football / baseball combo schools. So he's one we're kind of monitoring. So for a New Mexico game, right, like another non-conference game that's certainly not the appeal of a Southern, it's a pretty nice visitor list. They've got kind of for kids to come from out of state of notable spots like quarterback is big for them.
Do you have a feel one way or the other that they're in better shape for one than the other, or is this kind of fluid?
I think they're in better shape with Sayin, who's little bit higher ranked quarterback, but I think both of them are pretty elite at this stage. You'll take either of them, but I think A&M's kind of really, for a Texas kid, has put the pressure on the Lagway. Florida certainly has made a big run at him and already had him on campus. So and he doesn't seem close to a decision. So I would say if I'm an LSU fan, I'm kind of really monitoring kind of the news out of Sands weekend, and if he gets closer to actually wanting to commit somewhere in the next few weeks.
Shay, what's coming up after the game on 3?
Yeah, catching up with these guys. I mean, I think that'll be the notable news of the weekend, at least on the quarterback front. So I think everybody's eager to see what they say. And as usual, we'll catch up with all the different recruits and kind of get their final reactions before we dive knee-deep into SEC play. Oh, man. And now we've taken this right back to where we started, LSU versus Auburn a week from now. I don't even know if I can turn that on, Charlie.
I understand that. He probably gets just saying 10 times a week. And
he's still on the just saying.
He probably gets that so many times he's pretty sick. Like the actor Wayne Knight who played Newman on Seinfeld. Yeah. Everybody that sees him, hello Newman. I mean, he must get that 500 times a week. It's just so I'm going to try not to call him that if he commits here. That'll be my little. You're gonna hear it on
the broadcast a lot. He just makes it
all the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's just saying.
Just saying.
That's just saying.
I'm going to try very hard not to do that. Just not fair to a young guy. All right. Thanks, Shay.
I'll tell y'all, I thought it was cyan at first until I found out it was saying, and I was like, it's saying, isn't it? Oh, man. No.
Well, hey, listen, I'm going to try very hard. I'm going to try very hard.
You've already failed, though.
No. I can do it the first time. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. I got to stop. I'm not going to do that to young man. Shay, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Charlie. Don't feel too old out there. Keep him feeling young.
Can you come up with some recruits next week that I didn't, cover their father or
yes,
play
I'll
against
do a little
them?
more research to try to not give you this shock therapy. All right, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Shay. Clemson survives in double overtime. They get a touchdown in the second overtime, and the 2-point conversion was no good. Wake Forest could not answer. 51-45. Clemson survives over Wake Forest. Florida converted 1 4th down on their opening drive, got deep into Vol territory inside the 25-yard line, but on a second 4th down conversion, they did not get it. So Tennessee takes over the ball for the first time just about 5 minutes into that game in Knoxville that is scoreless. Sam Hauser covering the New Mexico Lobos. That is next here at Rouse's, where our LaBerge countdown to kickoff is 3 hours and 40 minutes. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
When I was a boy, I spent my days climbing trees, catching fish. Barefoot in the river I walked, listening to crickets, counting stars. This was home. After my stroke, I wondered if I'd make it back to the people and places I love. But I got the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Your card matters. Your home does too.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Eagle 98.1.
Brandon Hawley here. Wood windows with a lifetime guarantee. ReliefWindows.com.
Eagle 98.1. WTGL and HD1 Baton Rouge. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Opposing Media. Presented by Rev. Fiber fast internet made in Louisiana.
Back here for Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Rouse is on at Burbank. Time to look at this game from the Lobos perspective. Earlier this week on After Further Review, Matt Moscona sat down with Sam Hauser of ESPN Albuquerque. We bring you that conversation now.
Let's talk a little bit about this New Mexico team. Outside looking in, looks like defense is really good. Offense has struggled a little bit. Let's start with the defense. What have they been so successful at doing so far?
I mean, really, it is forcing turnovers. They had 7 turnovers against UTEP last week. One of the names for your listeners to watch for is going to be Jarek Reed. He's a defensive back. Really, he's one of the best cover corners that the Mountain West has. This whole team is predicated on defense. You have Danny Gonzalez, the head coach, defensive-minded head coach. He was at Arizona State working this long with Rocky Long, who's one of the best defensive minds in college football. So you put that together. It's been a couple years in progress, but you're starting to see some of the dividends now with how these guys play defense. They play a 3-3-5. So a lot is based on what these guys do in the secondary. Have DBs that come up and attack the run game. Everybody swarms to the ball, and they just create turnovers like nobody's business.
Sam, I'm glad you mentioned Rocky Long because I had to look it up today. He's 72 years old. Obviously, he's a Hall of Fame caliber coach. I mean, everybody I think knows that name was associated with college football. The drive clearly still there. I mean, is it a little surprising even still that he's doing what he's doing right now with that defense?
No, I think this is actually a dream scenario for him. He's a defensive coordinator. Last couple of weeks, he's actually been coaching up in the box to try to get a different view on things, and the program's really done a really good job of just kind of respecting him staying out of the spotlight. It's Danny Gonzalez's team. He's there to, he's there to put his input in. Obviously, he's one of the best defensive minds around, but he really just stays quiet, stays away from the media, and just does his thing. And really, that was kind of one of the selling points from Coach Gonzalez on bringing him here. It was, let's get the band back together and just let you focus on the defense and not have to worry about any of the other stuff that comes with coaching.
Sam, what did Boise do so well offensively to put up 31 points and attack New Mexico?
There really honestly wasn't anything spectacular that Boise State did. I mean, certainly they wore down this defense with their run game. There was a lot of frustration in that game, just the way the Lobos couldn't move the ball. So the defense was on the field a lot. They were getting tired. And by the fourth quarter of that game, those guys were just gassed. And Boise State was breaking tackles, breaking off some long runs. But there really wasn't anything spectacular or outstanding that Boise State did. They just buried the Lobos overtime, unfortunately, and UNM's offense didn't have enough to keep up.
Sam Hauser's with us from ESPN Albuquerque. So that's a great transition. Let's talk a little bit about that offense. Where has the struggle come primarily?
I don't know if I would necessarily call it a struggle. I mean, you have different guys in different spots. Nate Jones was a stud running back for this team in 2020. Had some off-the-field situations that kept him away from the team last year. He's working his way back up. I guess one of the things that Boise State's defense did is they took away everything that UNM likes to do. These guys really like to use the entire field, go outside the numbers, use the run to set up the pass, and Boise State took a lot of that away. So if a team has a strong front seven and they're going to disrupt what UNM wants to do in the run game early, yeah, that's going to make things a little bit more complicated. But the whole thing is just a work in progress, and I got to tell you, it's so much better than even last year. Like I do think this has a chance to be at least an interesting game because of where this offense is at.
Sam, any offensive players to keep an eye on from New Mexico?
Certainly Miles Kendrick, the quarterback, the transfer from the University of Kansas. He's got a good arm when he's called upon to use it. He's a dual threat quarterback. The thing that's so interesting about this offense is they have so many different running backs to go to that are, I'm sure, at some point will all get utilized. If it is Nate Jones, Christian Washington, Sherrod White, Luke Weissong's a really popular player around here. He's a local kid from Rio Rancho, from Cleveland High School here in Rio Rancho, which is just up the road from Albuquerque. So there's a lot of weapons on this team. One thing I'm going to be curious about is the Lobos really haven't used their tight ends at all, which was a big part of this offense last year. So see if that gets going, but there's just so many different guys that they can give the ball to.
Special teams have played a big part in two of LSU's 3 games so far. Actually, there have been big plays in all 3. I did notice that New Mexico had a kickoff return for a touchdown in that game against Boise State that we mentioned. How are the Lobos in the third phase?
It's up and down. I mean, the return game does have some electricity to it. You mentioned Christian Washington had that return for a touchdown, got him a Mountain West Weekly Award. Luke Weissong is a really good returner as well. I just mentioned him. He can do just about everything. And then the Lobos have a couple of kickers, depending on the situation. They really have a long yardage field goal kicker, and then one that they go to if it's a shorter situation. George Steinkamp is the long yardage kicker. He's the kickoff man. Really strong leg, had some trouble with accuracy this year, but really that's where that's one of the areas the Lobos can turn a game on its head with one of these long returns. A couple of guys that can do that as well.
Sam, I'm also curious. The transfer portal is just such a gigantic part of college football. I mean, we all know that right now what it is. With Kendrick coming in from Kansas, are there other Power 5 transfers that have come into UNM sort of as a way that they've helped build and supplement the roster?
Well, yeah, like you said, Miles Kendrick is the big one coming in from Kansas. Also, one of the other top ones, we didn't see him do much last week against UTEP, but one of the other ones is Jordan Porter. Came in from Arizona State. He's a wide receiver who really had a good connection with Miles Kendrick the first couple weeks of the year. But beyond that, really what this coaching staff has done is just completely utilize the junior college ranks. Basically, the entire offensive line came from junior college, a couple of these running backs as well. So it's been more kind of dipping into the junior college ranks as far as transfers go. But Miles Kendrick and Jordan Porter, the wide receiver, are probably the two of the more notable ones on this year's team.
Sam Hauser from 101.7, the team there in Albuquerque, ESPN Radio in Albuquerque. Last thing, if there is a blueprint, if Danny Gonzalez is going to pull a big upset as a 5-score underdog, his squad, what does that blueprint have to look like Saturday in Tiger Stadium?
It's going to be getting the run game off to a really good start, just mixing up the run game in a zone read. The thing that people might see a lot, that the Lobos run a triple option or an option kind of offense. It really is a much more modern RPO than I think they get credit for. So if they can get the run game off to a good start and then use that to set up the pass, get that LSU secondary up, and then let Miles Kendrick use some of his arm talent, the way that he can throw on the run as well. He's really good at extending plays and being able to find guys deep. So it's just going to be using the run to set up the occasional big pass play. And it's going to be, if that can happen, then buckle up. I mean, I'm not predicting anything right now. Let's make that perfectly clear. I'm not predicting a UNM upset, but that's what it would be using that run game and all these different running backs to set up a couple big pass plays.
LSU in New Mexico for the first time in football, 6:30 on Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. Sam Hauser from ESPN Radio there in Albuquerque. Sam, thank you so much for the time, man. Appreciate your flexibility very, very much. Enjoy the game Saturday, man.
Thank you for having me.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care. the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Off the bench on Game Day. Off the Bench is heard weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from OTB, here's Jacob Hester.
We return here at Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day. We are on our LeBarish countdown to kickoff, about 3 hours and 25 minutes away from the kickoff of tonight's game between LSU and New Mexico. Bring in Jacob Hester now. Hess, how you doing, bub?
Doing well. Just watched the game that probably most of our listeners watch, Clemson-Wake Forest. It's a heck of a college football game, and so the day has started off on a good slate, I would say.
Yeah, well, we certainly had that game on and watched that game. We watched Michigan and Maryland. We watched Duke and Kansas, but we also endured Missouri and Auburn. That's really what I want to talk about. Jacob, you guys played some great games against Auburn, and one of the things with Auburn is they are always physical. They can always run the football. You know, the quarterbacks have been run hot and cold, and I know the quarterbacks are getting a lot of heat here. But Auburn ran the ball for 1.8 yards a game, 1.8 yards per carry today against Mizzou. This is who LSU sees next week. Tell me what's wrong with Auburn. I mean, it's a 10-minute segment, but tell me what's wrong with Auburn if you can squeeze it in there.
Everything. I mean, they're dysfunctional. They're dysfunctional with some of the personnel decisions they've made. They're dysfunctional in some of the play calling situations they made. I mean, go take a look at last week, Danny. The fact that TJ Finley had the same amount of rushes that Tank Bigsby had in a game against Penn State, and Ashford was the leading rusher as far as carries. Like, what are we doing? Like, you have Tank Bigsby. Tank Bigsby is one of the best running backs in the country when he's played in the right situations. And so you see stuff like that over and over again, and you're wondering, why is this going on? Because you're right. Like, Auburn's identity has always been, look, we're going to play physical defense. We're going to run the football. Now, Cam Newton's different. Like, that different was the outlier, right? I mean, but typically they're going to have a quarterback that's more of a game manager, and they're just going to be more physical than you are. That's just not the case anymore. They have no identity, and the players that they do have who are really good football players, they don't utilize them in the roles that they should be used in. Now, I mean, we've talked about the fit and Brian Harsin, and, you know, he was kind of handcuffed because he was told who his coordinators were going to be in year number one. But even here in year number two, I thought the identity would show itself, and it's not even really started to show itself. And here we are 4 weeks into the season.
So, okay, I'm guessing that they heard exactly what you just said in multiple versions this week, right? You guys have got to run the football. You guys got to get the ball to Tank Bigsby. We're Auburn. We run the football. Okay. They ran the ball 45 times today, Jake. 82 yards. Bigsby got 19 carries. They tried. This is against Missouri. This is not against Georgia. So it's not even the play. Today it wasn't even the play calling. They're just not good. They're not good.
Yeah. No, and they're not good in key spots. They're not good on the offensive line. They're certainly not good at quarterback. And even when, Auburn has had a down year for their standards, they've always had Jimmys and Joes on the defensive front. They don't even have that. So it just feels like they're just spinning a wheel at the beginning of the weekend. And they're like, okay, what are we going to do this week on offense and defense? And wherever it lands, that's just kind of what they go with. And they don't make adjustments. So, like last week, you can sense that you didn't run the football like you should have, at least with the guys that you should have been running it with. Again, TJ Finley having the same amount of carries is ridiculous. And then this week, it's like, okay, well, we're going to do it, but we're just going to beat our head against the brick wall and continue to do it, even though it's not working, and not adjust. So it's bad. I mean, they won the football game by the grace of God today. They had no business winning that football game.
Should have lost twice.
Yes. And as an LSU fan, not many times do you feel good about going to Jordan-Hare because it is a difficult place to play. But with what I saw and where LSU's going, these are two programs going in a different direction.
I really thought it was going to be an interim coach had they lost that game today. All right, one more on that game, and then we'll move over to LSU. It's an LSU pregame show. This is my fault because Auburn's what I want to talk about, really. The last play of the game, your running back, what's going through his head? It looks like he's got a – first of all, did you see the play? I'm assuming he's – okay. He's trying – it looks like he's got a clear path to the end zone at worst. At worst, he's made the first down, and they're going to play first and goal from the 3, maybe the 2. And he tries to change hands, lunge with the ball to the pylon. It comes out. Your running back, what's going through his head right there?
No, too much. Too much is going through his head. Look, you've already done the difficult part. You've already gotten down there. Don't try to be Superman. I mean, there was no need. In fact, Handy, watching the play, I think if he just puts 2 hands on the ball and continues to run forward, he might score, or he just gets out of bounds. I mean, It almost looked like he was just trying. I don't want to say he was showboating because he was kind of going out of bounds, but it looked like he was just doing so much and way too much with the football. Like, just put 2 hands on it. You, at worst, are going to go out at the 1. You just don't do that much ball movement when you're right there at the goal line. And it's just, to me, that just can't happen. I mean, the worst case scenario is you're going to have first and goal on the 1-yard line, 4 chances to get into the end zone. And so I really don't know what was going through his mind. That's just bad. You never move the football, and certainly you don't move it into your inside hand like he was trying to do there, because, I mean, he had it on his outside arm, and it's just a lot and way too much of it as well. And so that's going to be clinic tape. From now, it's going to be clinic tape on what not to do for a running back in that position.
He made the play like it was 4th and goal, like he had to do everything in his power because this was the only chance he was going to get, stretch the ball out to the end zone on a 4th down and goal, but it was not 4th down and goal. It was going to be 1st down and goal. All right, let's talk about LSU's running game. Last week, they got it going pretty good outside of the quarterback. That's been kind of the key phrase here is what can you do to run the football outside of the quarterback? Jake, they got up to over 5 yards a carry last week outside of the quarterback. What did you see?
Yeah, so when you go back and you watch last week's tape, I thought the offensive line did a better job. Now, they were better in pass protection than they were in run blocking, but they had really struggled the first couple of games, and I think you're seeing a unit that's starting to gel together. I love Emory Jones at right tackle. You can tell, like, that's somebody that's going to play to the whistle and maybe even a little bit after the whistle, but it's because he's playing hard, not that he's trying to be anything extra. And so you saw more holes in the offensive line as far as what they were giving the running back, and you saw running back take advantage of it. I thought Armani Goodwin had a really nice, the long touchdown run. He really pressed the hole, cut back there, and then outran the defense. But a couple of those John Emery runs as well. Like they were very, very close to being home runs. And so the running backs had some room. You have a talented room, and I thought they made the most of it. I know Josh Williams only got one carry, but you saw the physical nature that he had there getting into the end zone. So the running backs had the most room that they've had. The offensive line looks like they're really starting to figure out the five that they want to have moving forward. So, and also when you got a running quarterback, you have to take advantage of what defenses want to do to stop him. And so any of that zone read stuff, even if Jay doesn't keep the football, you've got to keep a defender on him because he is such a threat and you can't cheat it. Like we've seen defensive ends that have kind of cheated and they want to play both. They can play the running back and the quarterback because the quarterback can't hurt them. That's not the case with Jaden Daniels. So you're kind of getting an extra blocker where they're having to really spend time with that defender as well.
Jake, I wanted to ask you about Armani Goodwin because, coming into the year, everyone was focused on Noah Kane and on John Emery, and then kind of towards the end of camp there, Armani Goodwin starts to emerge, and he's seen a lot of playing time. After all the injuries last year, what have you seen in his game that's kind of allowed him to take that next step and get a lion's share of the reps here early?
Moose, I would say even the coaching staff last year, they loved him. Now, he couldn't stay healthy, and he was a young player. But, even going back and talking with Kevin Falk, he was as high on him as he was anyone, and you saw it in practice. Just couldn't stay healthy. He's a very explosive player, and sometimes when you are that explosive, now this is not something that I had to worry about. When you're that explosive, you'll have some of the hamstrings, you'll have some of the ankles, you'll have some of those tissue injuries that can kind of be nagging and keep you out, and that's really what he dealt with last year. He kind of dealt with some of that early in camp this year, but he is a very talented running back. He is explosive like we're talking about. We saw him with a Central Michigan game last year, the first carry of his LSU career. He gets in there and it's a stretch run and he puts his foot in the ground and picks up a first down. He has the ability to be a number one running back. And I thought the most important thing for him, though, in the game last week, running the football, I thought it was great. He was really good in pass protection. And so what that does for him, it allows you not to fall into tendencies because before in his career, he hadn't been in there in passing situations. So it's okay, if 22's in the game, it's going to be a run. But they said, hey, we got to break some tendencies. They kept him in there for the pass, and I thought he did a really nice job with pass protection because Josh Williams is going to be the third down back for this team, but you can't fall into tendencies. You can't allow the defense and the defensive coordinator to kind of have some tails. And so he's worked on his game. Look, he had 9 for 76 last week. He is a guy that they trust. He's been out there a bulk of the time more than any other running back. And so this is someone that he can really grow into an all-SEC type back. I think he has that kind of talent, not just a nice piece to an LSU offense.
Jacob, last thing, the potential for a lethargic, flat, if you will, start is there tonight. This is not the season opener. This is not that sellout crowd for the historic game against Southern where everybody was into it, the kickoff. This is not the SEC opener. This is absolute garden variety, tailor-made, start flat. How do you avoid it?
Well, the good thing, this team, you laid it out there. They've had reasons not to be flat, but they haven't been flat so far this year. And I hope they realize New Mexico is not a bad football team. When I watched New Mexico tape, they took care of UTEP 27-10 their last game out. UTEP just beat up on Boise State last night. This is a team that plays in the Mountain West, right? They're not a directional school U from the FCS. They're not a team that doesn't play in a good football conference. They play in the Mountain West. They're a team that returned a lot of production from last year's team. And can you sometimes, because you don't know the opponent, go out there and not be as excited? Sometimes, yes, that can happen for you. But hopefully they watch a tape. They saw on film what I've seen from the Lobos, which is actually a pretty good football team. And that's always a challenge when you play these non-conference games. But I think BK and the staff so far, at least what we've seen, they've been ready to play in these type contests. And so that's always the hope. Now, I've also been in a situation where you look up and you're playing against Troy and you've got to go score with 2 minutes left in the game. That's not what you want. So you got to go in there from the first quarter, realize you're playing a Mountain West team that can come in here. They're 2-1 the season. They're not 0-3. And hopefully the film has done its job and it's showing you that they can make plays.
That UTEP Boise State score should have got their attention. they didn't just win that game. UTEP dominated that game. They held Boise under 200 yards of total offense last night. They were a 17-point dog and won the game by 17. So we'll see if that got anybody's attention. Jacob, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good, guys. Have a good day.
Here at Rouse's, download the app and get all of your tailgating supplies as you are going to get it curbside delivery here at Rouse's, Burbank at Lee. We'll be back with a full scoreboard, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
I am Juliet, daughter of Marguerite, granddaughter of Gabriel Piera. I come from a line of strong women who knew struggle and success too. Still, I was scared by my breast cancer diagnosis. But I had Blue Cross coverage, which meant I got care from top doctors. I'm strong like my mother, and her mother before her. The right card, the right care.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
98.1. The Ralph's Market College Football Scoreboard. Ralph's Market, where quality and customer service are a family tradition.
All right, we start with games in progress. Middle of the third quarter, UCLA leads Colorado 31-10. Also in the third quarter, Temple leads UMass 21-zip. Ohio leads Fordham 38-35. Games that started in the 2:30 window. Tennessee and Florida are at the end of one. The Vols lead it 3-0. Early in the second quarter, Texas Tech has just scored a touchdown to go up 14-10 on number 22 Texas. Middle Tennessee up big early, 2 touchdowns early on number 25 Miami. 17-3 Middle Tennessee. That is late in the first quarter. North Carolina leads Notre Dame 7-0 in Chapel Hill. As they've just started the second quarter there, Notre Dame has a drive on North Carolina's side of the 50. Minnesota, a favorite at East Lansing, leads Michigan State 14-0. That game is early in the second quarter. Other second quarter scores, Cincinnati leads Indiana 17-3. App State leads James Madison 14-3. San Diego State leads Toledo 7-0. Western Kentucky leads Florida International 14-0. North Texas leads Memphis 10-6. UTSA leads Texas Southern 14-7. Games that started in the 3 o'clock window. Washington State leads number 15 Oregon 7-3, but Oregon's got first and goal at the Wazoo 4, about halfway through the first quarter there. Also halfway through the first quarter in Oxford, Tulsa and Ole Miss are tied at 7. UCF leading Georgia Tech 3-0. That game just got started. Sacramento State leads Colorado State 7-0 again. That game just underway. Earlier finals. We had some entertaining stuff today. Number 1, Georgia beat Kent State 39-22, but it is not the walkover that Georgia has had in the first 3 games of the season. Stetson Bennett threw for 272 yards, did throw an interception. I believe that's his first interception of the season. Yeah. Number 4, Michigan outlasted Maryland 34-27. J.J. McCarthy threw for 2 touchdown passes in this one. Tolia Tagovailoa missed a good chunk of the middle of this game with an injury. He came back, got Maryland to 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, but the Terps come up short. Number 5, Clemson needed 2 overtimes to beat number 21 Wake Forest 51-45. DJ Ugalele 5 touchdown passes for Clemson. Number 14, Penn State beat Central Michigan 33-14. Number 17, Baylor goes to 3-1. They beat Iowa State 31-24. Number 24, Pittsburgh beat Rhode Island 45-24. Bizarre game of the day. Auburn beat Missouri 17-14 in overtime. Missouri missed a field goal from extra point distance to end regulation, then had a walk-in touchdown. I shouldn't say a walk-in touchdown. A touchdown.
It was a touchdown.
He was, and the running back trying to extend the ball, fumbles it through for a touchback, and Auburn survives. It's LSU's next opponent. They'll be at Jordan-Hare next week. Mississippi State beat Bowling Green 45-14. TCU beat SMU 42-34. Horned Frogs go to 3-0. Kansas goes to 4-0, 35-27 over Duke. Jalen Daniels threw for 324 yards and 4 touchdowns. He ran for another 83 yards and a score. Young man is electric. Louisville beat South Florida 41-3. Buffalo beat Eastern Michigan 50-31. That is your college football scoreboard. As the Irish are on the board, a 10-yard touchdown pass to Michael Mayer. The extra point to come would tie that game at 7 again early in the second quarter. We'll take a break. Matt Moscona is with us next. We are here at Rouse's. Download the app for curbside pickup for all your tailgating services. And remember, Rouse's, we never run out of ice. Get a cold draft beer while you're shopping. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. After further review on Game Day, presented by the Grove Recovery Center. The Grove Recovery Center. Recovery designed for you. After further review is heard weekday afternoons from 3 to 6 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Now from AFR, here's Matt Moscona.
To kick off is 3 hours exactly for LSU and New Mexico. Florida, a touchdown pass from Anthony Richardson out of a scramble. 6-3, extra point to come. That game is early in the second quarter. Let's bring in Matt Moscona now. Matt, good afternoon.
Good to see Florida can make a PAT, something Missouri could do. Ooh. Idiots.
Yeah, let me start with the question on everybody's mind. Who's going to be the next Auburn coach?
Well, I think Brian Harson's going to coach against LSU. But,
yeah, I mean after him. whenever that is.
I think LSU will beat them, Georgia will beat them, and then they'll fire him in the Bayou. So I don't know who the interim will be, and I don't really care. I think the next full-time coach is the big question. And, guys, the name I'll throw out to you to keep in mind is Hugh Freeze. I've had a couple of conversations, and I think there might be mutual interest. The big problem there is, remember, Auburn does not have an athletic director. Yeah. So they're searching for an AD, and if you're a head coach with options, why would you go take a job when you don't know who your boss is going to be? So, like, it kind of feels like Auburn's got to figure out their AD situation before they figure out their head coach situation.
Well, Matt, that's assuming that the AD is actually making the hire. I mean, it's Auburn. Does the AD really make the hire, or is it the boosters usually make the hire, right?
That's true. Fair. Go ask Yellowwood who he wants.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's going to stroke a big check anyway, so go ask him and see if they can get somebody hired.
Those are the guys that are going to make the call anyway. Let's talk about LSU. This game is just one of those ones that you got to get through. But New Mexico, look, I'm certainly not suggesting that LSU is going to lose the ball game, but did the game last night at least catch your attention when UTEP dusts Boise State, who New Mexico beat a week ago, beat UTEP, fairly handily, and UTEP looked really, really good last night. It was a big surprise to me.
And Boise, of course, beat New Mexico, so you have a lot of transitive property working right there. No, well, here's the thing, Handy. The thing about this game is New Mexico's defense is good. Rocky Long is a very respected defensive mind. He's 72 years old. He's now the New Mexico defensive coordinator, his former head coach there, also was at San Diego State. And he's got them playing really, really well on the defensive side. And LSU has struggled offensively at times this year. So that's the concern. Like, if you go mess around and turn the ball over and give them a short field or pick six, defensive scores, then you might be biting your nails in the second half. New Mexico's offense just isn't very good. They're with as good as LSU is playing defensively, as big, strong, fast, athletic as they are, and as poor as New Mexico is offensively, it's hard for me to imagine New Mexico making a game of this unless if LSU opens the door. So it's one of those things. It's not App State against A&M. It's not Marshall going up to Notre Dame and playing a really strong game. This is one of those where you would have to open the door to allow them to walk through it if it didn't go LSU's way today. But it's hard for me to imagine that considering how LSU's defense is played.
Watching the offense in the fourth quarter a week ago, it seemed like they finally got that the speed with which they wanted to operate. In the first two games, sometimes fast, sometimes a little bit slower. It seemed like Jaden Daniels got into a real comfort zone there in that fourth quarter.
Not only that, but when LSU has needed a play offensively, he's delivered. I mean, look, they scored on 3 straight drives in the fourth quarter. But, I mean, I think the more significant thing was the end of the first half. When LSU was down 13-0, State's getting the ball to start the second half. And LSU put together 3 straight first downs before they scored. Daniels carried the ball on second down 3 consecutive times, all 3 times for first down yardage. When they needed plays, he's been their go-to. Look, I mean, Andy, I would love to see, like I think everybody at this point, I'd love to see Jaden Daniels get more comfortable with the passing game. LSU's receivers are so good, and it's just very clearly the advantage they're going to have on anybody
but you got to have a trigger man that can get him the ball. I think that's an evolution that can happen as the season goes along. But in the meantime, man, it's hard to argue with a guy that's protecting the football, that's making plays with his feet, that's moving the chains, that's allowing you to get into scoring position and put up points. I think, I don't know if you agree with this. I just think Daniels, this is a really good transitional piece. Like, he's going to the NFL next year, and LSU is going to have a young quarterback a year older next year growing into that role, whatever it is. But he's your best chance to win right now because he's your best offensive player right now.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. In fact, I'd be interested to hear anybody with an argument against that, because I don't have any argument against that.
Are you not hearing that though? Like, I hear that so much from LSU fans that are like, he doesn't throw the ball, he doesn't find the open receivers, giving us a chance. I'm like, he kind of had his chance against Southern, and it didn't go hot.
No.
So just try to win as much as you can now.
I don't disagree with anything you said about Daniels and LSU. Is he an NFL quarterback next year? There you kind of lose me a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying he wouldn't go, but do I look at him as a big-time prospect in the NFL? No, I don't. But do I look at him as their best chance and their best offensive player right now? Absolutely. But by a wide margin. By a wide margin. Let me ask this question about the rest of the LSU run game, because I've sort of been beating the drum this week. Hey, they really found something. They got 5 yards of carry outside of Daniels. And then I did a show in Lafayette this morning, and some wet blanket said, well, half of that was on one run. Okay, fine.
Still counts.
But
it was.
It was. Okay, so what do you think of the run game? What do you think of the run game outside of Daniels? Outside of Daniels,
I think it's not going to be good at all this year. They're just. I mean, here's my hope. I won't be the wet blanket, but the wet blanket is right. I mean, Armani Goodwin ripped off a 47-yarder, and that skews the averages. And by the way, that was the play after Pickering, their best defensive lineman at State, went out with injury.
Yeah.
So they ran right at that hole, and Goodwin busted a big one. I think here's the optimistic point of view. All right, you get Emory back. Hopefully he comes into his own, kind of gets his sea legs back under him. But if Bradford back this week at right guard and Emory Jones at right tackle, you have two really big physical athletic dudes on the right side. They can become a right-handed running team. And that would maybe give me some optimism that they can say, hey, look, just load up behind those two dudes and run it. And that maybe gives me some degree of optimism, but not much. I mean, Hanny, this team is what they are. They're not going to be like, the offensive line is a clear weakness. They don't have an established running back. Daniels is going to be the leading rusher on this team, and it's not going to be off design runs. It's going to be off of what we've seen, broken down plays where he makes something happen because he's that dynamic with his feet. So, I mean, if we're thinking one of these guys is all of a sudden going to pop off like TDP did last year and go for 1,000 yards, I just don't see it. I mean, it would take something unorthodox, like a 300-yard rushing game, to get one of these dudes back on track to get there. I just don't see it.
No, I agree. My thing is that can it be competent? Okay, do I expect 5 yards of carry? Absolutely not. Even though they got that last week. Do I expect more than the 1.8 yards per carry that Auburn got today? Yeah, I do. I think it's got to be a little bit better than that if they're going to have a chance. You prefer Bradford to Frazier if they're both healthy at the right guard?
Absolutely. I think Frazier's a tackle. I think he's an athletic guy, and it's pretty clear when they tried him at left guard, he is more comfortable. He was more comfortable at right tackle. But I think Emory Jones is a better right tackle than Frazier is. So it's not to say Frazier can't give you depth and reps if you need it, but I think Emory Jones has a ceiling that is exponentially higher than Miles Frazier, and right now he's probably even a little bit better than Miles Frazier is.
Oh, no, we're not talking about Jones. Jones is by far. I'm talking about just Bradford versus Frazier at that right guard.
No, for sure. Bradford's a guard. I mean, Bradford is a 350-pound guard. That's what he's going to play at the next level, and that gives you your best chance to do what you just said, which is try to establish some form of a running game.
Every time they put him in the lineup, and I'm talking about for 3 years now, whether it be in the practice situation, in scrimmage, in the game, something happens and then he's out of the lineup. I'm a little bit gun-shy where Bradford is concerned because every time I get my hopes up, but I see what you see. I see a 350-pound road grader when he's in the game and when he's healthy and when he's operating at a high level. It just never seems to last very long is my point with him.
That's fair. I'm not sure I can argue to the contrary, and there's probably some degree of of bias because, I mean, the editors are so high on Bradford. We call him their best offensive lineman a year ago. So if you can get him healthy and operating at a high level, then I think he's one of your best 5. It has to be.
Yep. All right, Whiskey and Wine, after the show, tell me how T-Bob did last week. It seemed like the reports I got were good. Reports I got were good.
There might have been there were inappropriate references throughout. Not suitable for here. But look, that's what I mean, that's what you come to Whiskey and Wine for. It's me, it's T-Bob. We're at Don Juan Cigar Bar. We're having cocktails and smoking cigars and talking about the game. And it is worth noting again that if you are going to be in the car with your kids and you stream us or you're at home, maybe make sure the kids aren't there.
That's
Wise.
Sound advice.
Wise.
Very sound advice. All right, have a good show, Scone. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. See you.
All right, Tennessee has scored a touchdown. They go up on Florida 10-7. Notre Dame has scored a touchdown. They go up 14-7 on North Carolina. Talking Tigers is next from Rouse's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
It's no secret. The best oysters in
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Talking Tigers. Talking Tigers. Presented by Louisiana Land Bank. Louisiana Land Bank. They're experts in rural land and equipment lending. Talking Tigers. Offensive lineman Charles Turner.
Throughout this whole season, I've just been preparing as if I was a starter. You know, like Coach Davis has done a great job bringing guys in to, compete. It's a competitive spot now. O-line is competitive. We mess up one day, Coach Davis don't have a problem pulling you out and getting the next guy in. So competitive depth is just, something that I think about every day. So when I go out there, I just think about competing and preparing to be a starter. You know what I'm saying? Whether I'm the starter now or whether I'm not the starter next week, it don't matter. I have to prepare myself as if I am a starter.
Running back Josh Williams.
Armani has been doing great. He's excelled since he's gotten here, not only just on the field, but also in the meeting rooms and stuff. Pass pro, trying to become a fullback. He's doing all the things that he needs to do, and I'm excited to see him play as well.
Defensive tackle Jacobian Guillory.
Man, me and Charles have been going at it since I was a junior in high school. He's a technician. Like, he'll see stuff before, like, anyone else even sees it. So he's like a technician. Like, being really technical, like, that's his big thing.
Cornerback Jarek Bernard Converse.
It meant a lot because, you want to win every game, and especially the SEC game. So it meant a lot to me, and it was at home, first game, conference game of the season, so it was good to go out there and win.
Offensive lineman Charles Turner.
I'm a great communicator, but, you can always take things to a different level. So Coach Davis has, given me tools and certain things to look out for, certain things to watch, certain, things that I pick up from him. The way he's played the game, maybe when he was in college, have your eyes here and then go here. So it's like, picking up those little things from Coach Davis, it helps me a lot too.
Running back Josh Williams.
I think because of the tradition, we always wear white jerseys, and it can get a little bland for us because we don't really get those jersey combination changes. But whenever we do get to wear purple or all white, it's a big deal for us. So I think the team's excited.
Defensive tackle Jacobian Guillory.
Like I told everyone else, I've been knowing Mason since I was a sophomore in high school. So he's been like me and Jaqualin's like little brother since then. So we told him we got him, and that's what we're gonna fight for. Like, we're gonna fight this season for Mason.
Cornerback Jarek Bernard Converse.
His instincts and his just abilities to go out there and just do what he does. There's not many guys like Jay. He just has a lot of abilities to go out there and make plays. He's a playmaker for sure.
Offensive lineman Charles Turner.
I want to bring the energy. I want to be the energy factor in our room. So that's the biggest important part for me is I like to play with a lot of energy. I like to play juiced up. So when the guys are feeling a little low, when they look at me and they see me and they're like, oh okay, we got to get up. Charles is up, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's all about bringing that energy factor because I feel like if we have a great energy, then our minds are going, our minds are correct. No matter if we mess up or not, we're still having good energy. We're still blocking to the whistle, you know what I'm saying? So the energy factor for me is probably the biggest thing.
Running back Josh Williams.
It was amazing seeing John, man. Just seeing how long he had to sit out, and it didn't sit well with any of us in the room, especially him. And we just knew how much he was going through, and it hurt us seeing what he had to go through. So I was excited to see him back on the field playing free and getting that exposure again.
Defensive tackle Jacobian Guillory.
Our football knowledge, from freshman year to now, has gotten so much better. So our football knowledge is really going out the roof. It's crazy. And just watching film together, doing knowing when this guy's gonna do this, he's gonna do that. He might lean a little harder, so he might be hard setting you, or he might be leaning back a little bit more. He might be pulling stuff like that. Really helps out. And watching film and seeing it on film, and then going out and practice, walking through it, and then going on the practice field and practicing it, that really helps us out a lot.
Cornerback Jarek Bernard Converse.
Our guys up front, they do a pretty good job of rushing the QB and making the QB uncomfortable back there. And I feel like that's what really helped us win because Will Rogers, he gets the ball out pretty quick, but this past week he struggled because he had a lot of pressure in his face. So our front seven did a pretty good job with that.
Offensive lineman Charles Turner.
See, my thing about continuity is I think that no matter who's in there, we should all be able to play well together. You know what I'm saying? So continuity thing comes with us, just being around each other in the meeting rooms or even outside of football, getting together, going out to eat, getting a feel for the guys, because it don't matter, it's a long season ahead of us. It's an SEC season, SEC West at that. So there's going to be different guys in there, whether we can control it or not. It's going to happen. There's going to be different guys playing different positions. So, just making sure that continuity factor sticks in the whole room and not just, only 5 or 7 guys.
Talking Tigers. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This summer, meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance.
This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Keys to the V. Presented by Coors Light. Coors Light. Mountain cold refreshment made to chill.
Unfortunately, I did not see what happened.
Okay. All right. Hold tight for me.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues from Rouse's Burbank at Lee. Come on by for download the app. Get your curbside pickup for all your tailgating supplies before every LSU game. Bring in Jeremy Hill now. Talking about some keys to the V tonight for LSU against New Mexico. Jeremy, good afternoon. How are you? Do we have him? Okay. Let's reconnect there. Let me give you an update on what's going on. Florida scores a touchdown, goes up 14-10 on Tennessee. 6.5 minutes to go in the first half there. Tennessee with a drive there now on the Florida side of the 50. North Carolina scored a touchdown. They tied up with Notre Dame at 14, but Notre Dame has taken the ensuing kickoff, going down the field. They're now going to play first and goal with about 3 minutes to go in the first half there. And Texas has come back to score a touchdown on Texas Tech. It is a 17-14 game. The Longhorns lead with about 2 minutes to go until the half in Lubbock. And what was the other game I wanted to get you? Oh, this is the biggest surprising score right now. Middle Tennessee leads Miami 24-3 with about 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. It has been all MTSU in that game pretty much from the opening jump. Tulsa and Ole Miss expected a lot of points in this game. Hasn't disappointed so far. 14 apiece, Tulsa and Ole Miss. That game with just a couple of minutes gone in the second quarter of play. Okay, let's bring in Jeremy Hill now. Jeremy, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Campus is pretty good for a non-Power 5. Well, I guess they're Power 5. I don't want to go too far in New Mexico, but yeah, campus, the atmosphere is great. There's a lot of people here. I'm feeling great.
Well, we were talking earlier that their win over UTEP takes a little bit more oomph now after UTEP beat Boise State last night. So we'll see. Tell me what you thought of the LSU run game last week, in particular John Emery. You haven't played the position at all.
Yeah, I thought for John, to me as a running back, my entire college career and my entire NFL career, having to split carries with a bunch of other guys, a lot of times it involves luck. And when I say luck, I mean if the offensive line gives you a wide open hole when you're in the game, then, hey, you got a wide open hole to run to. I thought for John last week, he just didn't have many opportunities to have big-time holes to get going and get to the second level. We had a couple good runs last week, but for the majority of his carries, there just wasn't much there for him. So, obviously, it's easy for fans to say, well, hey, John didn't do well. He didn't play well. He's not ready. But I think if you really go back and look at that film, John just didn't really have many opportunities to make something happen. So, I'm not too worried about John. I think when he gets back in there, he's going to continue to make plays. I thought overall in the run game, we know what Jaden Daniels is going to do, but I thought Armani Goodwin, he had an amazing game. And obviously Josh Williams, he ran hard as well. So I think, the run game definitely improved from that Florida State game, and that's something that he needs to continue to build upon this week.
What are you hoping to accomplish tonight in knowing that Jaden Daniels has taken a lot of hits in the first 3 weeks of the season, and he's going to be the most important guy for them going, the rest of the way. So what are you hoping to accomplish in this game tonight?
Look, if I'm Coach Jim Brock, if I'm Coach Kelly, if I'm Coach Sloan, the quarterback coach, I'm going to Jaden to make those down the field this week. I think this is the perfect opportunity. You kind of got Will Campbell in there against Florida State. He's kind of got a little tenure here. He put Emory Jones in last week, and to me, for a freshman, he played amazing. They gave him time to make throws. So I think this week, Jaden, obviously we know what you can do with your legs, so let's try to look downfield and make some throws. Obviously, Kayshawn's not playing in this game, but let's give some of these other guys opportunities to make plays down the field, because when you get deep into this SEC schedule, teams aren't going to continue to let you use your legs. They're going to spy you. They're going to must rush you. So you're going to have to make big-time throws. So I think in a game like this, let's see Jaden make some big-time throws down the field. Let's get Nussmeier in there. Let's try and get some of the other guys in there to make some plays.
Jeremy, talk to me about the mindset as a player when last week you had the SEC opener. You get a fourth quarter comeback, you get a big win, and next week you're going to Auburn, who, wounded or not, is still Auburn. And here's this game in the middle. It's the third non-conference game. It does not have nearly the juice that those other SEC games have. How do you approach it and try to keep them coming out flat?
Look, I'll be honest with you. It happened to us in 2012. I remember vividly. We're playing Towson, and it's a one-score game almost at halftime, and these guys have no business on the field with us because we're sleepwalking through the first half. We're looking forward to Alabama. We're looking forward to the big SEC games. And these schools, they come into LSU, they come into Death Valley. They want something to prove. They feel like they're disrespected. They feel like, they want the 4-star, the 5-star kid, and they have something to prove. So these games it's called trap games for a reason. You got to come out there and you got to execute. And when you're dealing with a bunch of 18, 19-year-olds, it's hard to get their focus on games like this. But it's so important to go out there and play lights out. And I think they did a phenomenal job of doing that against Southern, starting out the game hot. I think they need to try to repeat that type of performance in this type of game like this.
In a game against Southern or a game against Grambling next year, or in any of the games that they played against state schools, you might run into a lot of people guys that you played against in high school or knew from somewhere. There's a pretty good chance that there's very few of these players that from LSU know anybody on the New Mexico roster, correct?
Yeah, I would definitely venture to say that. I mean, when I think about LSU, you're obviously recruiting heavily the state of Louisiana. I've been checking 247. I've been checking on 3. I haven't seen many New Mexico recruits or commits coming from this state. So I would venture to say, I haven't done a deep dive on this, but I would venture to say there's not many Louisiana guys on that New Mexico roster.
I would say that you're probably right.
Safe assumption, yeah.
Earlier today we got this stat from the Clemson-Wake Forest game. Clemson had 66 top 300 guys, top 300 recruits, and Wake Forest had 0. And Wake Forest played them everything they wanted. The game goes
Double
double overtime. So that's why we play the game. Jeremy, we'll catch up with you on post-game 90 minutes after the end of LSU and New Mexico. Take care.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And Notre Dame has punched it in again. 2.5 minutes to go to the break. 21-14 Irish, and Tennessee with a drive turning the ball over. A sack on Hendon Hooker. He coughed it up. Florida has the football back. They've got a 4-point lead. 4.5 minutes to go to the break. They're at their own 37-yard line. We'll go down to campus, check in with the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, when we return from Rouse's on Burbank at Lee. We are 2.5 hours away from kickoff on the LeBearish countdown to kickoff. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Get a free roof inspection by Garcia Roofing. GarciaDidMyRoof.com.
WDGL and HD1 Baton Rouge.
They said I was small, weak, said my heart wasn't strong enough. But I showed them what heart looked like, again and again and again. Mom got me the right care, the right doctors with Blue Cross coverage. Don't let people tell you who you are. Show them the right card, the right care.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your
Eagle 98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Inside the stadium. Inside the stadium. Presented by GoFlow IV Spa. GoFlow IV Spa, where athletes come to hydrate so they can dominate.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day continues from Rouse's Burbank at Lee. Download the app and get curbside delivery for all your tailgating needs. And remember, at Rouse's, we never run out of ice. Get a draft beer while you're shopping. Pick up all of your tailgating supplies here at Rouse's. Go down to Tiger Stadium now. Bring in the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair. Chris, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Charlie. It's a hot one out here today, no doubt about it. I hope you've got some AC.
Look, we're right here in the deli. We're chilled, but I know it's a pretty warm evening. It kind of described what it was like calling in that fourth quarter last week when LSU really put the Jets on and came from behind, won that game. Tiger Stadium was hopping. It was a really gratifying, I thought, SEC win.
Yeah, I think it was a really good win against a really good opponent. And again, I think, you take the game in its totality, Charlie, there's a lot you want to clean up, especially offensively to start that game. Kind of a slow start again, if you will. A slow build-up, I think, is the way you hear it described here on campus. Special teams still some things to clean up. But to me, my takeaway was just defensively. Knowing all week what you have to do to kind of disrupt what Mike Leach wants to do. And outside of a few missed tackles early, a couple that led to that touchdown by Jaquavius Marks early in the game. Outside of that, once they got the tackling down and got Mississippi State to the ground, I thought the game plan and execution by Matt House and his defense was really fun to watch. And as you said, offensively, LSU turned it on. They were able to get, I think, just wore them down, winning the time of possession. Having Mississippi State's defense have to play as many downs as they do for a team that typically their offense is out there 37 minutes a game. Wasn't the case last Saturday. And I think you saw the running game, kind of take over, wear them down a little bit, which I think is a good thing. Obviously you'd like to be able to do that whenever you want to, first quarter, second quarter. But the fact that there was some improvement in the run game, I think builds confidence. And if there's one thing you and I have heard Coach Kelly talk about, he wants his team to play with confidence. And if the offensive line and the running backs got some of that in the second half, then that's a good thing.
The tackling was a big buzzword for him, for Coach Kelly, all throughout the week. And we talked on the pregame show last week, Chris, about how it's not the easiest thing to work on once you get into season, because you go be physical like that in practice, and it could end up leaving your game on the practice field or possibly getting somebody hurt. So it's not something that you can just go rep over and over again. But I thought that it was very, very crisp for most of the game, and I thought they were able to get a lot of pressure on the quarterback, which is tough to do against that State offense.
Yeah, I think so, Charlie. And one of the things I love about Coach Kelly, and he mentioned this a couple of times last week, that, yes, you can't go out there and just simply tackle and tackle and tackle in the sense of trying to keep your guys fresh and certainly avoiding any injury. But he did talk about drilling technique, and he thought that it was a technique issue, trying to knock guys down as opposed to wrapping them up. So I think they spent plenty of time in technique, and I like the fact that he says, we're not going to risk, that type of live action just for that particular, part of the game and risk injury, but we can work on technique. So it's nice to hear a head coach go, look, we recognize the problem. There's limited things we can do in live action, but there are some things we can go back and talk from truly an X's and O's standpoint. And it's obvious that they either got the message across or the drills helped out a little bit. And if they can continue to do this, I like where Matt House puts his guys defensively. I know, Charlie, you had to be watching the game going, okay, we know what B.J. Ojolari can do as an edge rusher. Wait a minute, that's B.J. now moving inside to the line. And, oh, wait, we got, Harold Perkins now working on the edge. When you've got that kind of flexibility, I think that number one, probably pleases Matt House. But I like the way he's utilizing those guys. And really making offenses and opposing quarterbacks, have to think a little bit pre-snap.
Chris, if last week the buzzword was about tackling, this week it was about special teams. When Brian Kelly said on Monday in the press conference, we've got to coach it better and I need to get more personally involved, that was something that caught my attention. I'm wondering if he expounded on that in his conversations with you or on the coaches show.
He just said, look, we've got to look at all angles. We've got to coach it better. We've got to look at, do we have the best personnel out there doing what we need to do? We're going to rep it enough so that we can judge the personnel. So, in this game tonight, you talk about, I think we all talked about in the preseason, and I think early on here, that down the road as we get deeper in the SEC, there's going to be opportunities for LSU to be in games. And there are going to be some close games, and it's going to come down to a play here or a play there. And the last thing you want it to be, any coach wants it to be, is on special teams. Some of the basic things, fielding a punt, having awareness of where you are on the field in a kick or a punt situation. So I think tonight you may see all kinds of things differently. I mean, I think they obviously have worked on it, but it would not shock me at all if the personnel isn't changed out. And that's no slight to Greg Clayton Jr. Or Javen Nicholas. I just think they're trying to find the right combination that when they send them out there, barring something crazy happens, they feel like they can go make the play. And if you get anything above that, well, then that's lagniappe. But right now, they just want them to make the play and no mistakes on special teams.
Chris, kind of a big picture one here. We hear Brian Kelly so much talk about preparation. I'm just curious with how much you're around the program, how much you're around Brian Kelly, what you've made through 3 weeks of the process of how he gets his team prepared week in and week out.
Every second of every minute, Matt, is accounted for. It is really unbelievable. I always commented on Paul Maneri, the former LSU baseball coach, that his organization as to where they're going to be and what they're going to be doing 3 weeks from now on a Wednesday at 3:32 p.m., they knew. That's exactly the way it is with Coach Kelly's operation. And it's a thing to watch. And that's for the players. That's for the coaching staff. That's for all the staff that's in that building. And I've talked about it a lot. I'm ancillary to what they do. I mean, I work here at LSU, but I'm not inside the football operations building. But when you see that type of organization and detail to how they do everything they do every day, you kind of got to step your game up. Like, I'm only around them a little bit, but the last thing I'm going to be is late and not be prepared, because that is the expectation. That's, to me, what stands out about what he does. And, you know, I think he talks about it all the time. These guys are learning that. The players are learning that. They're learning what the expectations are. But I think when you look at the organization and you look at how things are handled from top to bottom, you get some players here, and I think we all three could agree, and everybody listening, you're going to get some players here, then I think the sky's the limit.
Chris, at the bottom of the hour, we hand the baton to you guys at the LSU Sports Network. What's coming up on pregame?
Well, I'm going to try to go over there and make sure they get plenty of water, and I hope they have plenty of water.
Good idea.
Because they're going to be out there at Tiger One. But they're going to talk a little bit about this offense we're going to see tonight, Charlie. It's not something you see a lot of. In fact, you know, it's not just an option offense. Some people refer to it as the spear offense because it's a midline option attack that's run out of the pistol set. But it's not the Army, it's not the Navy that people think of. And they also try to add a vertical passing game to it. So I know talking to Hunt this week, they were going to talk and get some people from Albuquerque to try to give us an idea of what we can expect to see, especially on offense in the matchup tonight against the Lobos.
We'll hand that off to you guys at 4:30. Have a good call, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks, Chris.
Gentlemen, thanks for having me.
And we are watching Notre Dame kick a field goal as they go to the break. That'll extend the Irish lead to 24-14 at the half in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, Running Boards Marketing, Andy, one more time. They can help your business stand out. It's giant LED mobile billboard trucks where they drive eye-catching ads. They're impossible to miss. Check them out for your business at runningboardsmarketing.com.
We'll take a break, come back and get you caught up on everything going on in the world of college football here at Rouse's Burbank at Lee, where you can download the mobile app and get curbside pickup for all of your tailgating supplies. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Eagle 98.1. The First South Farm Credit College Football Scoreboard. First South Farm Credit, financing farms and land since 1916.
Okay, some late scores right before the half in a couple of games. Tennessee, touchdown pass from Hendon Hooker to Brew McCoy with 7 seconds to go in the half. Has the Vols up 17-14. They have to kick it off, and that's probably going to expire the half. And we got a defensive penalty. All right, they're going to go to the break in Knoxville, 17-14 Vols. Also with a score right before the half, Notre Dame got a field goal, make it 24-14 Irish at the half in Chapel Hill. Late in the fourth quarter, UCLA leads Colorado 45-17. Early in the fourth quarter, Fordham leads Ohio 52-46. At halftime in Lubbock, number 22 Texas leads Texas Tech 24-14. Hudson Card did get the start for Texas. He has thrown 2 touchdown passes. Miami has gotten a touchdown back, but they still trail. Middle Tennessee leads Miami 24-10. About 20 seconds to go to halftime in that one. Minnesota leads Michigan State 17-0. That game is at the half. Other halftime scores: Cincinnati leads Indiana 38-10. Appalachian State leads James Madison 28-10. San Diego State leads Toledo 7-0. Western Kentucky leads Florida International 42-0. Memphis leads North Texas 20-13. UTSA leads Texas Southern 21-17. Game still in the second quarter. Washington State leads Oregon 10-6. About 5 minutes to go to the break there. Oregon playing a fourth down inside the Wazoo 10. Inside the Wazoo 15. Ole Miss, number 16 in the country, leads Tulsa 21-14. About 6 minutes to go to the break there. Georgia Tech leads UCF 7-6. Less than a minute to go to halftime. Sacramento State leads Colorado State 21-3. About halfway through the second quarter there. Earlier finals today. Number 1, Georgia beat Kent State 39-22. It was not without a struggle. It was 26-13 at the half. Kent State was never going to win this game, but they hung around a lot longer than most people, myself included, expected. Stetson Bennett threw his first interception of the season today. Number 4, Michigan beat Maryland 34-27. J.J. McCarthy threw a couple of touchdown passes. Maryland was right there with Michigan most of the day, but Talia Tagovailoa had to miss a portion of the middle of the game with an injury. He came back. He was limping around, but he led the Terps to 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. Just wasn't enough. Got to wonder, Moose, if he plays the whole game there. Maybe this is flipped. He missed 2, maybe 3 series there in the middle of the game, and he was playing really, really well. I wonder if he doesn't get hurt if they pull the upset today.
It's a fair question. I think the jury is still totally out on the Michigan Wolverines right now.
How could you know? The first 3 weeks, they went out of their way to schedule nobody. Speaking of having everything you can handle, another top 5 team had to go to overtime. In fact, they had to go to double overtime before number 5 Clemson outlasted number 21 Wake Forest 51-45. DJ Ugalele threw 5 touchdown passes for Clemson. Number 14 Penn State beat Central Michigan 33-14. Number 17 Baylor beat Iowa State 31-24. Number 24 Pittsburgh beat Rhode Island 45-24. Auburn beat Missouri in overtime 17-14. You're going to be seeing this stuff all week because LSU goes to Auburn next week. Missouri had a point-blank field goal from extra point range to win it on the last play of regulation, missed it. Auburn kicks a field goal on their first drive. They get the ball first in overtime. Missouri got a run down inside the 5-yard line that would have gone for, at the very least, first and goal. The running back trying to stretch for the pylon has the ball come loose about the 1-yard line. It goes into the end zone and out for a touchback, and Auburn survives in a game that, we've been saying this all day, they should have lost twice.
I was about to say, look, you never apologize for winning, but let's be honest. Missouri beat Missouri today.
They very much did, but presumably Brian Harsin survives for another week. Mississippi State beat Bowling Green 45-14. Will Rogers threw 6 touchdown passes today for Mississippi State, a little bit easier time than he had last week. TCU beat SMU 42-34. Horned Frogs are 3-0. Kansas goes to 4-0, 35-27 over Duke. Jalen Daniels threw for 324 yards and 4 touchdowns. He had as many touchdowns as he had incompletions today, and he ran for another 83 yards and a score. This is one of the most exciting young players in America. We looked him up on Friday. There were no Heisman odds on him. Okay, it was more of a field thing. He's going to get Heisman odds this week. Now, look, he's not going to win the award. Don't get me wrong. Kansas probably. This is a wonderful story. I love Lance Leipold, the coach there. I think he's a winner.
He's getting a job. You'd think, right?
If I'm Nebraska, I hire him in a heartbeat. He's 58 years old, so it's a little bit that's not in his favor. But if I'm Nebraska, this guy's won at 3 different places where he's had. Well, it's not the best of resources.
It's Kansas.
Yeah.
They're 2 wins from bowl eligibility, Hanny.
Yeah.
I need a number next to the Jayhawks name come tomorrow.
Like I said, Daniels is probably not going to win the Heisman because they'll probably top out at somewhere around 8 wins. But 8 wins at Kansas is phenomenal, and this young man is great. If he were playing for Ohio State, if he were playing for USC or Texas or Florida, he would be on the top of everybody's list right now. Louisville beat South Florida 41-3, and Buffalo beat Eastern Michigan 50-31. The LeBears countdown to kickoff is 2 hours and 9 minutes away, and we're handing the baton to the LSU Sports Radio Network when we come back here at Rouse's. Burbank and Lee, not very far from LSU. Download the app. Get your curbside delivery for all your tailgating supplies. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Winding down here at Rouse's. Again, download the app, get your tailgating supplies. Convenient little drive right into LSU. Pick up your stuff. Do yourself a favor. You're looking for something to nosh on? You're going down into get the egg rolls.
I was about to say, I know where this is going.
Get a little plastic container egg rolls. They got 2 or 3 different kinds. They're really, really good. Moose, some final thoughts about this game tonight for LSU. They're a massive favorite, and it would be one of the biggest upsets in the history of the school if they were to lose tonight. We don't expect that, but what do you expect to see?
Well, I kind of just bring it back to what we opened with, Handy, right? Obviously, you want to get out of it healthy, first and foremost. I mean, you don't play another non-conference game until the second to last game of the season against UAB, and it's going to be a grind until then. So, first and foremost, just keep everybody healthy. Number 2, I really want to see him start fast again. I mean, we've seen Jaden Daniels be so dynamic late in games, specifically in the fourth quarter. We kind of talked to Gordy about it a little bit. We talked to Scone about it. How do you get him in that rhythm earlier in the game to where it can kind of mimic what you see in the fourth quarter? You saw it against Southern. Can you see it against New Mexico now? And you're going to do it against a pretty solid defense that Rocky Long's got over there for the Lobos.
We had a couple of our guests, Gordy, Chris, I think Matt may have talked about it a little bit too, allude to the idea that we're going to see some personnel changes on special teams. I've heard similar. I think we're all getting similar information that we're going to see something different tonight. And Brian Kelly, I thought it was a pretty pointed comment on Monday. He said, we got to coach it better, and I have to get involved with the special teams. This has been 3 weeks worth of a lot of different breakdowns. And it's not lost on me that one of the biggest, if not the biggest play of the game last week was made on special teams. The fumble recovery by Slade Roy inside the 10-yard line was the catalyst to ignite the LSU comeback. So I want to give credit there, but there's too many holes in other places. And frankly, I expect to see some differences tonight on special teams.
For sure. I mean, look, you had some missteps with obviously with Gregory Clayton there, fielding it inside the 5 or
2 minutes.
Running up
inside the 5, going backwards. That's my big
running
issue.
up, letting it.
Yeah.
So yeah. Look, I kind of liked what you were alluding to there. Maybe Jack. I mean, why not? I mean, the guy's he's sure-handed. I mean, you know that, and he's really, really athletic.
And he's done this before.
And he's done it, yeah. He's got the experience.
He's been, at the high school level, but still, he's certainly done this before. A couple of quick notes. Tennessee against Florida, they lead it at the break. They have left some points on the scoreboard. A couple of turnovers on the Florida side of the 50. Really, like I said, they have left – they've left a little bit on the field here in the first half, and you just got to wonder if they had Cedric Tillman, what would be going on right now.
I mean, he's a game breaker. Yeah. I mean, he's a total difference maker for sure. I mean, Florida hasn't just. That's the thing. It feels like Tennessee's left it all on the field. Florida hasn't really done anything great today.
No, they haven't, but they've also avoided the big mistakes that Tennessee has had. Richardson has played well in the first half. Okay, we will be back 90 minutes after the end of LSU and New Mexico. Myself and Jeremy Hill in studio. Immediately after the game, Whiskey and Wine with Scone and T-Bob. So all that coming up following the game. Sending you now to the LSU Sports Radio Network. Thanks to the folks here at Rouse's, as always, for being such a gracious host. For Matt Musso, for all of us here at Rouse's, everybody back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Enjoy the game. It's been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.